time, same bet channel. Right now, though, we got Sharif at the green screen, guys. Have a good day.
Mike? Let's have a look at the overall futures on the day. 475 right now, very much near low of day on the triple Qs. Not much really to talk about. We broke through that 19,800. The Mag 7 all really selling off here except for a couple of them. First ticker as selected by you guys though, NVIDIA. Again, no real catalyst for this one today, but it's been very volatile ever since its 10-to-1 split. And today, a bit of a tough day breaking down, guys, at the lows right now. You guys both traded this one. What's the look?
What's up, everybody? Yeah, thank you, Sharif, for that one. Yeah, look, NVIDIA's been an absolute monster today. Yeah, down 6%. I mean, the catalyst was just the pre-market. I mean, you could see that there was obviously some downside push there. It's your #1 trade of the day. We're now $1.50 in the money right now. And we've reloaded it. Like, we just reloaded it. We sat back down here, we reloaded it, we went for another walk. Like, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's tough. And NVIDIA play the trend. It's now down about 14 or 15% from its highs. I still think it goes lower here today, hence why I'm short. $1.50 in the money. You know, this is, to me, the right way to trade. So I'm going to sit in this, wait out for it. We were able to hold for big winners. It's making my day. And, yeah, it was pretty easy short right off the jump. Just didn't get as high as I wanted to, so we just used some of these pre-market levels and shorted against 124, 125. I mean, again, to me, not rocket science. The #1 trade idea today was to go short on NVIDIA, and we did, and it's the #1 P&L name. So hard to complain when things go according to plan is what I would say.
Yeah, the only issue for me was that it never got to my level. So, you know, sometimes you have a target and you don't get to it. I like 27 or 31, either one of those two plays. Looked for some shorts off of VWAP in there later in the session. I got up and didn't take it the second time. I'm sitting at the 120 for the lower high in here. I am in AMD. And, oh, you know what? This morning AMD was its own category, but, you know, no one wants to talk about that one. So NVIDIA, I'm not in it. I am in DJT, and I want to get to AMD in a quick second, but I have to say this about Boeing. Only because I think it was Kyle Burdett was in it, and you guys were just talking about Boeing. Boeing broke this double support. I can't call it a bottom because it's not a low. It's a higher low at 178. When it broke, I didn't get in, and I'm looking to pick some up underneath 78 to give it to 178 quarter. So that will be the new trade. AMD, thankfully, I've always said, like, it's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. So I've been looking short all day long on AMD, and I probably had like 6 different stop outs on 9 trades. That said, it was super frustrating when that 163 came in at the top. We had it multiple times, eventually gave it up, got up, took a bit of a walk, came back, ate the lunch, and then missed it on the way back in. But you just got to be able to put on the next trade, which to me was the short underneath VWAP, which I'm sitting in now. So I'm in this one off of VWAP. I want the low of the day again on AMD. It's down 0.8%. I don't see any way that the NASDAQ holds underneath these lows down at 1%. And this holds under VWAP. We don't at least test whether it's 159 or the 158.5. The chips are starting to come back. Not all of them are weak, as you will see, but the vast majority are being dragged down by NVIDIA.
Apple was leading the Mag 7 on the day. It was up about 2 1/5 at its highs, definitely selling off now. A couple of headlines today for this one. One good, one bad. The good one is looking to create some sort of deal with Meta here to use Llama as their large language model in the same way that they're offering ChatGPT 4o. The bad news, though, the EU really looking to put pressure on Apple to help democratize its app store. They're looking at finding it big if it's found in violation of the Digital Markets Act. Guys, what's your look on Apple?
Be very similar to the look in the morning, and I still have a stop order for a potential breakout trade in Apple. I just, you know, it might not happen. I mean, the market's coming back in here, and we always talk about one of the best things about a breakout trade is you don't have to take, it's a very defined why am I getting in, right? Like at 210, we waited for the 210 level multiple times. Might have to cancel this Boeing order if I'm not going to get it. But yeah, we waited for it multiple times when it was the 210. I didn't have dips set for the stock. I knew I was looking long, but I didn't really have any obvious levels. I wasn't here looking at this thing when it created on Friday, but I knew 210 was kind of a big deal because obvious. I mean, if the stock holds 210 all Friday and then at 350 on the imbalances drops as much as, and then Sean was describing how fast it dropped down, I'm going to like that the other direction. So we had the breakout long. The only downside is I thought we'd have a second chance at it. In fact, I'm still bidding for a breakout over VWAP over 210.25, but I think it could be time to stick a fork in that idea because Apple's suddenly heading into the downside. Just very quickly, DJT, I'm on the bid in front of 34. It couldn't seem to get past that 36 top to get to like that 38 to 40. So I shorted it once it failed the 34 level. I'm on the bid now. It's not on the list, but this 34 and then VWAP are the next two targets for Donald Trump Jr. or DJT, whatever.
Okay, yeah, like we liked Apple long. I still like it long. We've tried it broke down through 209.50. We had that first long there. We held a little bit up to 212. Actually, only the last 20% fell back in. I still like this long, man. I mean, I don't know. Apple still. I mean, it's a matter of where. We're $2 in the money on Nvidia. A lot of consolidation here on Apple. I mean, we could be coming into a level where you might want to start to pick us some up, but you're still so far away. I mean, we are already down here already today. So I think you just got to wait for 208 at this point, which is coming in quicker than we thought. Someone said, what's up with that Siri trade? Nothing. So in order to show our positions, I need to get into position and get out of position. It's just the way it's coded. So I just choose a stock where I'm not going to lose anything. So I punch in and punch out of Siri. So, you know, want to show everybody the positions we're in. You guys want to know. So there it is. I'm in that position. And for those of you that asked, why did it show up? Because I got in and out so that it would register the Nvidia trade. Nvidia right now is $2 in the money and going into the low of the day. I mean, you could probably just short Apple now against VWAP if you do think the market's going lower. I don't have any bids here, so I was going to buy Tesla. I am. Do we have SPY on there? No, we do not. Well, my next trade idea was to short the market, but thing is we almost got there. Like it was this 244.50 area. I was looking at that just now, right? This is just a 1 minute chart. So I was thinking about shorting into here. We just got to 244.40. So we just missed that trade. So if it comes back up to here, would be almost $1 in the money now. But that would be one that I'm looking at. Man, I'm getting a headache right now. All right, let's throw it back to Sharif.
Super microcomputer today getting crushed 9% in the lows, recovering a little bit right now, about 8.5 in the negative. Really down with the majority of the chip stocks today. There's only a few guys that are green. Sean's in the short right now on Nvidia, guys. And Neil is also short AMD. What's your look on chips?
Well, they're all different. I mean, Micron's not the same as any of these. Intel's not. I mean, Intel's down, but Intel's chart doesn't look anything like the others. It's been pretty much like straight down relative to what you see in like a Micron. So SMCI, it might be a flat bottom break this afternoon, but there's no such thing as a flat bottom break if it holds this 8.25. So SMCI, it's not SSR, it's about 8.5% into the downside. This is 824.50 or 55 is the current low of the day. Go back to last week, it managed to hold on to that twice. I mean, obviously, this is a name with a pretty big spread. If you take a flat bottom break on SMCI when it makes a fresh low, you could get slipped 50 to $1. So you might be getting filled at 23.5 or something like that if it breaks that lower 24 even, and then you're giving it a couple of dollars as well on the minimum. So it's a very different style of trade, and it's very close to SSR. Well, I'm not going to be looking for this one. If we break lows, I want to continue to short AMD, maybe look for ARM again. But yeah, if you're long this stock, if this low gets taken out, it's under a lot of pressure and could be dropping pretty heavily. Because underneath the 50 period and on the daily is also what's happening for SMCI. And the last time it was under here, the bottom was $750. That's another 7 or 8% from this level.
I mean, Nvidia is now. Look, the only thing I can tell you about SMCI is if you want to trade it. But I think it should be like the only name that you trade. You know, I mean, it's a $2 spread at some points. You know, so if you're going to look at some of these individual names, the best idea would just be to look at those names, right? There's a reason why we have Nvidia, Micron, Palantir, and Apple. Those are the only 4 names we traded today, and we'll talk about sort of the successes of today and whatnot as the show goes on. But honestly, it's like you don't need to jump back and forth. So this down 8%, if you were on this, there's some great opportunities off VWAP there. For right now, I would just say I would trade this the same way I trade everything else. And that is just off support and resistance in some of these funky lines here. So, I mean, I'm looking at this 843, 845 as a possible area that you want to let it retrace to. A breakdown lower than this can't be very nice. Looks like Bitcoin's about to break 60,000. We haven't been here in a minute. You do have some support, obviously. So that is a great short, actually, right now, breaking 825. Like, that looks to me almost as good as anything else I'm going to be able to find. So it goes back into here. Nice little support break. Yeah, this is looking good. Whatever that bottom is now, 825 flat, something like that. That's a great break. So, again, if you have the sort of ability to trade this thing short, I don't even know if it's shortable or not. If it
usually is.
You have to pay for shorts or not. So, $829 name. If this one reverse split, it still wouldn't be my number one name. You know, this is the thing about trading stocks. We can go over this list and we appreciate it because it's given by you guys. But 3 weeks ago, before NVIDIA split, I said NVIDIA will be my number one name once it splits. It's been pretty much the number one name every day. Both on the downside and the upside for myself. So I feel like you want to stay focused in the stocks that you're looking at, and jumping over to one like SMCI, unless you're just waiting for like big, huge moves, I would say that you could just play any name to whatever way you want. Just make sure that you follow your rules and you stick with them. For me, this looks like a good break. I might even take this break. What is it today? So it's 124.55. So I just take a break then of 124.50, basically. And you might have a short of 10, I don't know how far, but that bottom right there is 760. Like, I mean, I don't know how far this thing can go. But anyways, SMCI looks like it's a slippery slope right now. Still $2 in the money on NVIDIA. I'd rather short more NVIDIA than short a starter position in SMCI. So that's where I am right now on that one. MLGO, people like that name.
The weakness continues with Amazon, as it does with the majority of the Mag 7 names, at least in the afternoon, down 1 2/3. No real headline today on Amazon. But we got wind last week that they were looking to make adjustments to their Alexa. They want to have a more conversational tone. That's after doing mass layoffs in that Alexa division, though, guys. The market making it pay today, 1.7 in the negative right now.
I don't think you need a catalyst. To me, it's pretty. I just call it technical. What happened to Amazon today? You broke out a local high at 189, which was a good level. It carried all the way to 191, which was the actual, essentially the 52-week high. So it broke out locally and got to the 52-week high. And when it couldn't push through, you got a fail breakout. And when something has a fail break, this is what happens at 191. It doesn't look like, it doesn't look like a monster level on the 3-minute chart. When you pull back that daily chart and realize, hey, when it fails a level like that and then loses the lower high, you can get some serious dumpage on Amazon. So it was a good break from that 89, which was the local top early, into 191. Unfortunately, this one just looks like a bit of a dog. Trades this afternoon. The levels I would want to play it off of, usually for an afternoon short, would be like the 187, like your opening range bottom at the in the morning, something like that. I just don't think Amazon's got the legs to get back there. That's why I was over at Boeing. I've just moved my order down into Boeing. I want to be short week stocks, and Boeing is a good setup, one I'm usually pretty big fan of. Support turning into resistance. So there's the top from Friday and the reason I'm on the offer. And then 178, it just broke it. Consolidation underneath there. Short it, give it a little bit above the 178 and give it to like 178.25. So I'm going to be sitting on that offer, trying to grab it here in the 60s, give it about 50 cents worth of risk. It's got $3 to the bottom, and it's got from here about $1 change until the previous close. Those will be the big levels on the way down for Boeing. But Amazon, a little too far gone to chase.
Yeah, I just want to look here at, SMCI is about to break again. I was just looking, there's probably been about like 30 or 40 names traded on the floor behind us. These are the positive names today. Apple, Affirm, this DJT traded in NVIDIA. So, it just goes to show you trading, and because I know there's some people in the chat are like they're negative and stuff today. Out of 30 or so names traded today, maybe less than that, maybe 20, I have to figure out how to do it, 3 or 4 positive names. And I just gave them to you. Apple, and we're running them down, so it's good. Apple, NVIDIA, Affirm, and DJT. So again, names that were on our watch list, names that were on sticky notes and things like that. Very important. for me to let you guys know that. All right, Amazon, AMZN. Here we go. 185, 186. I mean, yeah. I talked about this name earlier. Remember, we're like, oh, there it is, 190, 191.70 is its 52-week high, or all-time high. It made it there, and then boomed to the downside, right? It's been going straight down. I don't know if there's a news story about retail or what, but the market's been downside as well. We've been feeling bearish all day. We wrote that on the sticky note. My biggest trades have been short. And yeah, unfortunately, this Amazon one, like, that just collapsed all over itself. Like 191 at 10:30 down to 187 by 10:50. Like 20 minutes of straight downside right there. Yeah, I would say this is the level to short, 187 for Amazon. So for me, I'm looking at that right here. So hopefully that will be able to come in 185, 187 or so for Amazon. Dows will be good buys, 185, but I'd rather short 187, especially with the market being down that 1%. And then I wanted to short the SPY, and the reason why is because this was only down 0.17 as opposed to NASDAQ 0.96. So I thought that there could have been some more pickup happening at some point there in the broader market with the S&P as opposed. But look what's happening right now to Bitcoin. We just flushed 60,000. So I'd hate to say that we were, or at least I was right about this, because I hate being right about something that I'm long in. But we said this, the NASDAQ's not even really falling down, and Bitcoin's already down about 13 or 14% from its highs, and the NASDAQ is just trying to get back in. So, all right, let's go talk about one more name, and we're going to talk about another positive one, Affirm.
Great day today for Affirm, Sean. Goldman giving them the nod with a buy rating today. That's after Apple introduced them as a new partner for their buy now, pay later. So Apple going to cancel their own buy now, pay later service in favor of Affirm. And as you see there on the multi-day time frame there, big move up for Affirm since that announcement, guys. What's your look here?
The irony is, like, last week, like, this was actually my pick of the week last week for a short trade, and it kind of fell like every single day. But it was essentially that it had failed to break out on all of that good Apple news, which, I mean, it's obviously a good thing for them, no question about it. But it tried to break out a big channel 2 weeks ago. It failed that channel, so I was looking short pretty much every single day last week, just as a general strategy. It ended up bouncing off 30, and then it held this 50 period, broke out the 32 level, so I was long all morning. I gave some back shorting it when it broke trend to the downside by shorting it the second time. The first time was actually fine underneath 33, but it's still going up. Like, it's 11%. Like, I even started to doubt this thing when it failed the 33 level that second time. I'm like, okay, well, it failed 33 the second time. If it breaks trend, I'll go into the short. It's still flying. It's probably one of the strongest names out there. As the market's at the lows, the stock is at the highs. So until further notice, I mean, it's a very steep trend line. If you were to draw it, I think you're looking for buy the dip situations here in Affirm. Like, it just keeps on taking those highs. It held on to 32.40, like the morning high got held once, twice, thrice in the afternoon. So let's see what happens at 33. That was the last place it consolidated at all on the way up. So if it bounces off 33, it's probably still a bit of a long here on Affirm. Whether you like the business or not, or whatever you want to say about it, it's up 11% today and still trending higher.
All right, you guys want to talk about MLGO? Let's just do that. I don't have any Affirm trades. I mean, I like the stock, but I would short all the pops that you can. So we'll look at that during live trading. Yeah, MLGO right now at day's high, up 140%. Like I said, I haven't looked at this yet. I mean, it looks like a great base here at 720, but forget about that. You know, you want to know what the next trade is, not what's been happening. I mean, that's the whole point, right? These are trade reviews, so that's one thing. But looking at MLGO right now, up to 980. Wow. I mean, that $10 mark is going to be something else. So let's see if we've been here before. Yeah, so a lot of consolidation between 10 and 12 bucks. So I feel like that's important there. It looks like we did have a reverse split, so that's going to create that kind of a jump up, and then right back in, and then again, right back up. So I don't know. We know this is a short flow candidate. I think breaking through 10 is probably a punch long. So was there news on this thing? I mean, hold on a second. MLGO. All right, here it is here. MLGO. Like I said, it's not a positive name or anything, but it has a short float of 2%. I think that's probably wrong. It feels like that could be a lot higher than that. 73 million market cap. So I guess the problem is if you look at the market cap, and then you look at the price, I guess there's like 7 million shares or so outstanding on this name. So that's definitely creating a little bit of an issue here for ML. No, that won't load now. Oh no, now this is frozen. Oh no, oh no. Now this is frozen. Oh, I can't move it. Okay, close. All right, yeah. So, end of the day there.
Flow, right?
Yeah, this is just part of the feeling here.
Yeah,
So,
4.5. It's like, it's super
I thought it was
small.
near 7 million because they said the market cap was 73 million.
Okay, well, I
So
have
if it's
four.
$10, no, because it's moved so much today.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
4.5 as a
Yeah.
float, but it doesn't, like 4.5, 7.
That's
10,
right.
It doesn't, 100 million in volume, it doesn't really matter. It's gone through that like multiple times.
Yeah,
I think,
4.5 would be right because if you add 152% to that, it'd be 7 or so.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's pretty much, yeah, exactly. But again, when the float's that small, I tend not to want to look for shorts unless it's at an egregiously good level. Like egregiously would be here. Just to give you an example, like what's a level that if it got to, you'd think about a failure, like $15. Because look at the daily chart, like $15, yeah, $20, sure. Look at the wicks on this thing. After it reverse split, oh yeah, look what happens when you reverse split. Crazy wick and then tanks. We've seen that story before. Just think about this every single time the stock reverse splits, what your course of action would be on the first day. It's up to you. But yeah, $15 would make sense, but we probably have to pay for locates in that sense. I was long it twice. The first time, I kind of scalped out of it. The second time, I think I had the right level, not the right stop level. And sometimes it's just better to take breaks. I always look for that dip buy on the weakness, but there's other times when you should just take the breakout trade. And this was a case of the breakout being better at like $7.80 right in here. That just should have been a breakout trade. So I'm going to check the price of locates on the off chance it gets to $15 or $20.
Why is
I'm guessing I don't pay for them, not at this time of the day where this is trading.
All right, I'm definitely doing something wrong here. All right, 182.79. What is Tesla's price? Okay.
180.
Okay, fine. I want to go long now. I kept punching in and punching out, so like I was not setting my stop right there. So, all right, we're in it now. So we're in Tesla now. New position alert. Oh, we have to hit this. I don't know. All right, so it just came in. Look at the 20-minute chart. It just came in into the 200 into the 50 period, into the 200 period. I like these levels for Tesla. We know it's a relatively strong stock today, although about to turn red. I never like to be on a stock when it's just about to turn red because I know there's so many quants and stuff out there that are looking for stocks to go green to red, red to green, and then try to push them that way as well. So we'll see if they can hold out for Tesla. But for me, not much volume going through now, so I'm not super concerned about these levels. But I was trying to look down here at where I'd get out. So I actually just set the wrong price. See, that's my problem. 182, okay, so 59. I was setting 79. That doesn't mean why I was punching out. But I want to give this to basically that low of the day and average back into this. So let's do a 182.50. This is a starter position. Okay, so we have right now about a third maybe of what we want. And this one could fall out. Normally in the afternoon, I do not like. This is a counter trade, so I have to let everybody know that. I don't necessarily like getting in and out of trades that are going against the market at this time of day. So generally I'll be looking for shorts, especially down 1%. But Tesla being a little strong, wow, we just really got going there. I would have taken that, Phil. 50s, okay. So let's go back over to Tesla and put something there at 50, because if that happens again, we need to get something out. Again, it's not a huge position. It's just if my stop is going to be 65 cents away and it instantly goes up that 30, 40 cents, we should at least take, I just put 20% out there. Let's see if it gets going. I mean, honestly, the target for this, if the market goes, then we can get to VWAP. So that would be 250, okay? But that's not the idea here. If we can get something to like 184, so get something out if that happens again, because I don't know what's up with that. But we could almost get a piece out. Yeah, I know, like what's up with that? There we go, we'll take a piece out there at 36s. Now I'll put one in the mid 60s or so to get a piece out for here. But we just put this on and right there it is for you right there. It's a little small chicken dinner winner. It's 35 cents. 35-cent winner right there. Go enjoy some boneless wings. If you bought 100 shares.
I don't like boneless ones.
I did that for Ramin. There you go.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There you go.
That's cool. She likes boneless. It's a taste difference. That's all.
Yeah. I just did it right out. I mean, I have wings. We had wings the other day at my house. Yeah, they sure as hell. They
We had wings for Father's Day.
I'm saying no shit.
My
ain't
daughter
boneless.
picked. I said you can pick what you want to have on Father's Day.
Yeah.
And
You picked wings?
She picked. And
There you go.
honestly, this is how sweet she is because she knows I like wings. And I had
Right.
talked about it. So, and that's part of why I could get away with being like, oh, you can pick, because I know she's just going to flat out pick something that I love. Speaking of which, I don't love DJT, but I do respect the fact that it's higher lows and doesn't want any part of VWAP at this moment. So if you look at, we talk about consolidation. What does a consolidation look like? If you've never heard that term before, here's an idea of what consolidation looks like. At $33.50 for about 50 minutes, it went from like a wide range around that price to a very, very tight range around that price. So if it holds here, I'm going to, I went to 60, okay, whatever. I went to like 65 and not 55, so there you go. I'm trailing out if it bounces off that consolidation support level. It doesn't seem to want to get to VWAP, so we shorted it when it flat bottom broke this 35. It actually sideways went here, so when we came back on, like it was just sitting there underneath that same level we got in, and then flushes into 33.5. I'm gonna take the buck and run on DJT. It's up 22%, and it's actually trending higher. So like Sean was just sort of saying, like that's a counter, it's a counter trend trade to be short DJT on a day trade. Now, obviously, you could make an argument on the daily chart that it's not really a counter trend trade on the daily chart because, in theory, this is the first bounce it's had of any significance since this is like back in like late May. So in late May, it had a 3-day rally or like a 4-day rally. It's got a 3-day rally, but it's still a bit of a counter trend trade in my estimation. So we'll get the heck out of Dodge. Look for the next opportunity. AMD's starting to bounce. And I have this down at the low. If it breaks $160, I don't want to fight this thing at this price level. The reason I think it's either like a deep flush or we get out right away is on the higher time frame. It's holding the 50 period on the daily at these levels. And if it's going to do that, then I got to respect its hustle. Like it always seems to chop around that price when you zoom it out on the higher time frame. So if it continues to push down without actually flushing underneath 160 while the market continues to make lows, like the market's making a fresh low right now and AMD's bouncing at this random level. So if it wants to do this, I've seen that party before. I'll get out at the 160 level on AMD. My stop was at VWAP before. I'd look for a re-entry up at 161 in VWAP.
Yeah, I hate having some of those wicks. Like it's so much trading on some of these names. There's like,
I think it comes down to your style. Like for myself, I don't mind because I'm going to take small hit, small hit, small hit, small hit, small hit, and don't worry about it. Like at the end of the day, like I always like to say, for myself in my style of trading, it doesn't matter what my hit rate is. Like one for 7, 3 for 8. It doesn't matter as much because I'm way more likely to have like smaller hits relative to when it does work like a bigger win. Like ARM for myself today, like ARM could have been a big stock today, but the way that I tend to trade ARM, like it's either I get a home run on ARM or I'm close to flat on ARM if it doesn't work. We took multiple shots at it, but I really liked it, like I had 2 for 4 on ARM essentially, right? But the thing about this, if it trends all day long, I'm up ARM 5 times what I'd be on any other stock if it ends up working the way I want it to. So everyone has to have their own style. That's one of the reasons why I'm not an SMCI. Like I just feel as if...
Oh yeah, did that break? That was probably a great trade.
It broke. I mean, it went down to, this is 21.
It didn't go down that far.
I don't know where you're filled if this breaks. It's the other thing with SMCI. When it breaks that low, are you getting a 50-cent slip? If you are, then you're actually, that's a solid win in there. You get like $2, $3 if you have no slippage or small slippage, but it's tough to judge what the slippage is going to be on a breakout trade or a breakdown if you've never traded that stock. So I've traded a couple times, and the only strategy I've ever had is the trend down VWAP trade, which when I look at it here, I don't know whether that would have worked for me if I take this at 10 o'clock. Like maybe you give it some room. It looks like it probably would have worked, but that's tough to judge. Like when it breaks this high, how far does it go? Like what does the spread look like when it breaks 870? Is that like one wick in there that's just gonna run everybody's stops? Does it actually print above the 70 other than like some dark pools? And if it's coming back down, like are you even able to get back into the trade down here? Because to me, when it does this, I need to be entering here. Well, if you can't get shares there, you almost have to take it against you. And that's my problem with SMCI, is that a lot of times, when you're trying to get it with the move, you're chasing it more than I want to chase a stock.
All right. No, I wasn't saying anything about AMD about your trades, just how much it's just up and down today. It's really quite wild, that stock.
So
Tesla's been okay. Nvidia is still $3 and going lower and at the bottoms, right? So this has been a pretty clean trade for us here so far today. We don't have any luck on Palantir, although Palantir is at the highs. We had taken that 24 long, and we let go of it right there. There's a chicken dinner winner. I see Randy got a haircut, so that's real nice to do that. Hopefully I'll be joining the haircut crew tomorrow as well. All right, so we will find out here about Tesla. It's just like it's bouncing off the 50-period moving average. I mean, I don't know. We could take another piece out here. You know, this stock is really not like us at all. Okay, so we're gonna wait to see here. Micron, 139er heading to the downside right now. So this name, again, we were lucky enough to grab that 138 and get them out at 140.50. Like, that was a big trade right there for Micron. We tried to catch that falling sword, and man, that chopped us up quite a bit there until it didn't, and we were able to get it back to the upside. And then look at that final out right there. 140.50. That was the final piece out, and look where we are now, 138.60, 138.70. So always feeling pretty good about some of the outs because you save yourself some cash.
There goes 10.
Shout out to Adam DeLuz, everybody else like that. So right now, yeah, man, we are at the day's low. This is NVIDIA, and it is fantastic here today. Again, 250. I just upset that we didn't reload more, but we got what we needed right there on the reload. And again, Adara talks about this. She coined this term, but you have to have confidence. And didn't coin that term, but you have to have confidence in the trade. So when NVIDIA came back up here, it's like, it didn't matter. The price I wrote down was 28s, right? There's no way we were getting to 128, but we also knew that we wanted to fade any pops. I want to say thank you to Adam, thank you to Rome in the chat and everything like that, that put on the shorts here as well. It did exactly as we wrote down. You know, here's the pop in NVIDIA, there's the fade. Here's the pop again, there's the fade. You know, it didn't even really pop there, and there's the fade. So it's not about just having an idea of what stocks to trade. It's also about understanding the strategy that you want to implement in those names. So obviously this was never getting up to those levels, so you got to sort of say, okay, well then what's the idea, right? It's like when we wrote down Apple long 202. That was like, okay, we hope Apple can get down to 202 and get the long. Apple only goes to 206. But then we waited, we saw the momentum, and then it busted through 210, which would have given you, again, the only trade that you would need. 210 all the way up to 212.50. Like a huge monster trade. And then look, it even gives you the tops there before falling back down. And then we did the same thing that we always do. We buy VWAP retracements of stocks we like. You know, so the same thing, it just keeps happening over and over again. Find your method, find your style, and try to go for that. Whether or not your retracement, I mean, I can tell you right now, we talk about this all the time. Obi will be on the show next week. This guy's killing it again today. You know, he's going to be on the podium. He'll be on the podium with you guys here as well. So there it is, right? It's about your different style. He's traded 2 names today. So it goes to show you, stick with what you're doing, you know, find what's comfortable for you and put up hopefully those numbers for yourself and just try to figure it all out. And by the way, check out our Freedom and Wealth podcast as we're looking for guests. We're going to have some guests coming on pretty soon. So we'll keep quiet on who those are. But it should be fun as we get ready to book a couple in. And, you know, we've been having some fun times with that one. Talk about getting some freedom and wealth. I mean, if Apple dips down any longer, I was thinking of that $200 level or so to get a little bit more. Did MLGO finally just break 10?
So it broke 10. It's in a halt. You couldn't get the halt price. I actually tried. I mean, I went for it, but you know, it's actually tapping down right now. So it broke 10. There's your 1070. It has a decent enough spread when it broke out there. And actually now it's down to 1007 is the tap. So the theoretical auction price is right back into the 10 level. So be careful with this. If you're in it, no one ever went broke taking profit. But the tap value doesn't matter as much in the first couple of minutes. It's not going to open up for at least until 2:36 and change. So you still have like 2.5 minutes to go. Now continuing to fall, that tap is 10 even, I just saw. And now back up to 10.55. So it might still have a continuation. I would check back. I'll let you guys know what the tap is like 30 seconds before it opens because that matters a heck of a lot more if it's going to hold out. $15 does look like a decent level on the daily chart. If it got to something ridiculous like that, it was like 3 cents a share for us to get locates. So I paid for them just in case. I expected it to be much more expensive given the nature of the movement of the stock. The stock moves that much and you're only paying 3 cents for locates. And that's the ability to go short. I think you take a chance at it. DJT is bouncing off VWAP here, so showing some signs of strength. I'm still thinking after that pullback and fail at 35, I want to look for a short setup here. I don't see an obvious flat bottom break unless you look at the 33 level. So I'll let this one go into some kind of a pop, which is what I'd like to see on AMD as well. We got out of AMD, broke 160, trying to track back up into VWAP. I'm just looking for a lower high here. If it gets to VWAP, great. If it puts in another fail underneath 60, I might just jump in at that price. I feel the same way about ARM. ARM just doesn't seem to want to give. It gave you VWAP when I was trading AMD. AMD worked, so can't complain. But ARM's still hanging out at these lows. I might flat bottom break ARM. Just want to look at how clean this looks at. I know 151 has been a big level in here. It's not super clean. Because back here, it actually broke 151, got to 150.70. It might need to take a 150 even to be a true flat bottom break. So we're not there just yet, but I only want to be short ARM. I'm not looking for longs off this level at 151. I'm just looking to short pops, and if it loses 150 today, I'll take that break, unless it's like 350 in the afternoon.
All right, there it goes again. We'll see if we can get a piece out for Tesla, just realizing now that it goes right back up to the 50-period moving average. And this is, again, for me, another benefit of trading less and fewer names is hopefully I can focus on them a little bit better. Noticing that we just got up to the 50-period and we just put an offer there at 48s or 49s, and then it drips down against us. Okay, that is fine. So we'll find out if it does come back up and hit those levels. So. Oh, NVIDIA, new position alert, and it's a stop out. So if we do get stopped out, we are going to wait for 119.15. If we can break through there, we are going to get out of that trade. So we'll have to watch out for that. Okay, so Tesla, there we go. Get it. One more penny upside right now. We will get that. There it is. Yes, sir. So there it goes, man. Tesla, again, back up, right? So we'll just add another name. We've now traded 4 or 5 names. So get going back up to the upside. And I think it's pretty simple. This NVIDIA trade, just so everybody's on the same wavelength as myself, this was 30 cents or so worth of stop. And we're in the money $2. So this is 7-to-1 trade. Almost stopped out of this right now. Reports that Amazon's trying to work on a ChatGPT competitor.
Yeah, exactly. They're an assistant that competes with ChatGPT. It's codenamed Metis? Whatever. METIS, however you want to pronounce it. I didn't hear the guy pronounce it in my ear, but it doesn't matter. Amazon went like 20 cents on that, maybe like 30. Here, I'll zoom way in so you can see what happened here. So it was already in a bit of a bounce, and then it went like another 20 or 30 cents. Like if it wants to go on this news, then let's have it break the consolidation to the bottom. So if it breaks 159, 185.90, I'm going to jump into this on that news. It doesn't seem to be moving that much, but at the end of the day, if it's going to go on news, I want it breaking into a new range, not just retracing the range that it was already in. So if this can get above 90, my order is for a breakout that just crosses the evens. I know you saw like a green that went up to 186, but that was just aggressive order. So 90 broke. I got 91s. You're going to get priced to whatever the offer is when a breakout happens, and I'll just give it to this support. It was at 185.70 that it was holding when the news came out, so I'll give it to 185.70 on the way back in. So that was Amazon just now. I mean, as if every single big cap tech name is doing something that in this space. Let's be real. So I don't think it's huge news, but it was making a pretty decent run at the low, and that's a pretty big volume reversal candle. So I'll take a shot. If we get to 186.40, that would be an easy out there. 187 is a huge level. I said that's a level I would actually short this afternoon. So I'd be out if it gets to 87.
All right, I just want to say, we always talk about this over and over again, and here's a comment here from Adrian. He says, Sean goes long, Tesla, really? Out. Tesla now one of 5 positive names on the floor today. So, I mean, it's just, this is what I'm saying. Like, Adrian saw something different, I saw something different, and there it goes right back into a positive name, right? And so sometimes you got to be careful on what your symbols look like and then how you're trading them. There it is. Let's spin the money right there for a $2 winner on NVIDIA and just get out of that trade there on positive news again. Look, man, the more large language models that are built, the better it is for NVIDIA. So, I mean, let's just wait to see what winds up happening now as we'll get out. We've closed out pretty much all of our positions. Tesla's still that $0.50 now in the money, but we only have 20% left. So we'll still hold on to that one and then see what is happening. Man, I have this crazy headache right now. So I don't know, I took one extra strength Advil and having this iced coffee, hopefully it gets better. What's up, Adara?
We had this push higher with Amazon here. So this story is well coming from Business Insider, just to kind of maybe explain a bit of this move up here in Amazon. Reportedly, Amazon is working on an AI chatbot to compete directly with OpenAI's ChatGPT. So that's the story coming out here for the Business Insider as we get that move up in Amazon, guys.
Yeah, and MLGO opened up. It didn't really do much of anything, and I was like, if it had moved up, I would probably say something if it had broken $11. But dips into 10, trying to break out the 11. You're seeing it really consolidate at that halt price of 10.70. So I don't know, like an 11 break, that could be a little bit of something on MLGO. Amazon, the thing about news-based plays, if it doesn't work right away, I don't want it. It's trending to the downside. So I waited for a breakout trade. So I'm going to risk that 25 pennies in there. It technically was a little bit less than that. It was actually like 21 or 22 cents in here for a move into that 187 level. So tight risk on a trade like this based on that news. If it was bad news, I'd probably have looked short, but it was seemingly good news, unfortunately not going anywhere. MLGO, I'm asking myself whether I want to take the next breakout. The reason I like an 11 break is the whole price is 10.70. So if you stop underneath that previous halt, you don't usually get that kind of a risk to reward. A lot of times, if it's going to make a breakout of the next level, it's going to be a lot higher. And as a matter of fact, there it goes off that 10 level, but no buyers above 10. I mean, instantly, not a single, so it broke 10 even. Every single print that was above was someone hitting the offer. There was nobody on the bid above 11 just now, and you see it immediately shoot back. If I see buyers on the bid above 11, I'm going to take the high break at 11.15. Still no reshort in AMD, trying to be patient, waiting for VWAP. It's trying to go, just got to wait for it to get there.
All right, I'm going long on Apple. Let's just see what happens on this one. I mean, we keep on bouncing off the same levels that we've been doing, and let's see if we can hold it. I mean, our last out was right here, 209.50. We didn't even give it down here to 209. The market's trying to take the 50-period average right now. It looks like it wants to do that. So let's just go long and give this, you know, a little bit more room than maybe is necessary. But again, you don't want to be wrong and the market completely turns around here as Apple's fate turns around. So what is that level, 85 or so? I was just looking at, hold on, sorry, I didn't zoom back out, right into here. So the level that we've held is, yeah, 88s, 89s. I don't know, man. I'd hate to lose, like Neil was just showing you that loss there on Amazon for 25 cents. I mean, it might be something similar where I'm long right now at 05 and just trying not to be too much of a part of this. We're under view up, under this. Just trying to play relative strength right now. Don't want to give back everything that we just wanted to making there in Tesla. And by the way, see what I mean? Like, you go long on Tesla. Tesla right now 60 cents in the money, and Apple can't even get going. So yeah, it's just like a tale of two names right now. Apple continues to go to the downside. I don't know why, but there it goes. It just broke that 80. We're looking at 83s. So let's average in right around now, and then get out. Like, why is my computer, I keep flickering all the time. What is that little level there? Yeah, so we're right here right now. 50, okay, Apple's really coming in, so maybe 50s. So we will have to wind up taking an L on this one. Apple coming in against the market. The market's going up, you know, Apple coming in. So looks like for right now, NVIDIA's catching the bid, which is fine by me. We're out of that one, and Apple's catching a little bit of a tailwind, or a headwind, I guess, to the downside now for AAPL. Here it comes in. I don't know if there's news on this or not, but Apple's coming in for sure.
I wonder if maybe, I was about to say, like, maybe there's some kind of, like, move down on that Amazon news, but that doesn't actually make any sense. You know, I think sometimes if you search too hard for a reason, you're just going to come up with a BS one. So I don't know why Apple's coming down. I do know, so MLGO made that breakout. Halt price is my stop. That was like 10.69, just for anyone that's curious about it. And I said AMD at VWAP, we're going to wait for it to get there. It's pretty close. It's getting to that price. VWAP's actually at 160.85 here on AMD, but it's getting into that spot where it makes a push up, and then I want to jump into the short in the 70s here on advanced micro devices. So I got out on a trail with the intention of looking for a failure again at VWAP. And now that it's at that price, you want to look for it. Doesn't mean it has to work, but that was the plan. The plan was to trail out and then try to make a different trade back in here. So I'm going to get the order there in the 70s. Just make sure I still have my stop from before. No, I cancel it. Because sometimes I'll get out and then I don't have my stop from earlier above VWAP, so I have to go put that one back in on AMD. Sometimes you just use the stop you already had before in the previous trade, but in this case, I just put a new one in. So MLGO just got to 1180 and then pulled back a little bit here. It's a blue sky setup, so effectively like every 50 cents is a thing for me. Holding 11, I got in just above the quarters, so if it breaks 12, I'll trail 12, offer 12.30, 12.40. Let's go to Adara.
Some more comments coming in here from Feds Daily, who has been speaking since 2 p.m., saying that excess consumers' saving has largely been exhausted, so there apparently should be a slowdown in spending. Earlier today, Feds Daily also said that one of the things that the Fed is looking for is maybe less demand, so that could be a good sign as well. Interesting note, also saying that the economy has been incredibly resilient and the policy is sufficiently restrictive. So just be aware, Feds Daily is still speaking as we see a bit of a curl up here in the SPY, guys.
Really?
Oh my God.
Just having fun. Apple. Remember, I was like, what is Apple doing down here? Well, now it's 50 cents higher. So we will take some out and then just say, you know what? I don't understand what's going on right here with Apple. So it's just like, look where we are right now. We're only long at 90. And honestly, man, I'm going to take out 10% right here at 96. So let's go back up to the upside here. It feels silly like taking that 6 cents on that. But we already took a hit of 10 cents. Now we're taking a little bit of profit back up as Apple just kind of gets all the way back to the upside here into 209 again. So we're lucky enough to get a 75. So put the average where we needed it to be. But hey, we took this trade. We showed it to you as we were in it. Just lucky that we come back from Adara and Apple just shoots up. Like I was literally just saying, I don't know what's going on with Apple, but do we really need to? I mean, here comes the move back up. It's about trading off the levels. I was looking at 80, so when that broke a little bit lower than that, it was like, okay, let's slow down on that kind of thinking right now. But now Apple's in the money, 30 cents now in the money. Let's just put an offer and hit out some at 14s, and then let's wait. Maybe we do climb back up into VWAP, but realistically, the high rate there would be something that we'd want to look at, would be like 44, 45. So let me just offer there. They'll offer in the 30s, get a piece out if we're lucky enough to get that, but a nice retracement back to the 50-period moving average. I mean, we're already higher than our first in, let alone our better average in right there. We have no outs underneath where we're in, so it's good. Let's see if Apple will continue to go higher. And by the way, this is not to troll anybody that was saying that, hey, maybe this Tesla trade was not the greatest trade, but guess what's happening right now? There it goes right now. Tesla just in one trade, and we always talk about it taking 1 or 2 good trades, right? We nailed the morning with NVIDIA, and then here's $1 trying to get $1 in Tesla, and let's see what winds up happening with Apple. Oh man, we'll just sit here. Feds Daily is speaking now, so we'll see if he can rally this market just a little bit more. I'd like the long. I mean, we're in 2 longs here.
It's definitely putting in the market
pretty good.
The market's looking pretty good for a curl. I'll get to that in a quick second, but an adjustment here on MLGO. It double tapped 1180. And then immediately, there was, I don't want to call it like a spoofer, but there was a sizable enough seller that when they trailed it down, I just jumped more out in front of 1150. So someone was selling it at the exact same high that it had before. If it breaks 11, I'm getting out. If it can break through that top, I might look for another entry on a break of 12, or maybe on if it does like a second halt or something along those lines. But I just wanted to give you that update. There was a seller here at 1180 for a second time through. I took some out when it failed that 1150 on a trail, but not all of it. We do have AMD at VWAP, so that was the new trade. We said wait for it to get to VWAP. It got there, so I'm short at VWAP. I mean, it should be relatively obvious, but you guys can see where this was a top before, so we just want to respect said high on AMD. Doesn't mean it has to hold. Wait a minute. Nope, I put the wrong stop in. I feel like I've done that before. I'm back in effectively at the price that I got out, but this is a level up here, that 161.15 on AMD. We do want to look at a firm for a trend trade to continue to go to the upside. That was one of the names I wanted to dip buy in. Wow. Doesn't really come anywhere that I wanted it, unfortunately. So a firm could just be a breakout. But yeah, no, I'm not going to be looking at a firm on a breakout. It's a little bit too far to the upside. So it's going to go back to MLGO. If it can hold this 11, I do see an opportunity that it could break out one more time. I think 15 is like the absolute I would short it level, but it's showing some signs of weakness up here. So we got to keep some eyes on it. We're long just above 11 quarter.
Piper, I don't know if 12 losses in a row. Yeah, I think if you have 12 losses in a row, you might want to go the other way with some of those trades. So shout out to the Piper there in the chat. Look, Apple right now, man, 70 cents and going higher. Look at Tesla's now $1 in the money as well. So Tesla's getting close. I just wonder if we should just get it out here. We are at the 200 period moving average, 184.20. But the thing is, maybe this market wants to go back to the upside. So I don't know. We could get to VWAP again, can we not? I mean, this is just a matter of time. Right there, 184.20. Now that I'm looking at this, this might just be the thing for us. I mean, Apple is almost $1 back in the money anyways off that bottom, so maybe that can get going back up to the upside, so that could possibly be something. Here we go, 209.50, 209.51, let's go. Let's take another piece out on Apple. Why not, man? Into the 40s? If bang, right there, let's go. Let's fire a hot dog cannon off. So far today, this afternoon, the two trades that we've given you, Apple, 70 cents in the money. Tesla, $1.04 in the money. And not only that, we got out of NVIDIA down here at 119. So saving ourselves another 70 cents. So that's $1.72, $3 right there so far this afternoon. I want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure you do hit that like and that subscribe. I mean, we're doing this. These are the trades that I'm clearly showing you, where I'm getting in, where I'm getting out. We talked, especially this trade, we talked about Tesla, why we liked it. We even gave our outs. Do you know where our out is on Tesla? I mean, it doesn't matter. This now is 4 or 5 times risk to reward on that one, so we're pretty happy with the way that one's looking. And then the Apple trade is just, we were almost stopped out of this one, right? So we're lucky that that one wound up holding. But like I said, I love Shopify. Shopify was,
news.
Again, some of these breakout things that we've had, obviously this one's been up to 68. Now it's coming back down a little bit there, down 1.7%. So I think you can even pick up some Shopify. This is when we upgraded it, and then it went 14 or 15 straight days up, which was very lucky to have that happen. But then it runs into the 200 period and then straight back down. So Shopify right now, I would say it's probably in the penalty box for me right now. Let's get it back above the 200. We'd hate for it to fade off of that and then retrace back to these lows, which could happen. That's generally an indicator for me when that happens. So for right now, let's just stick in the pocket with our Shopify and wait to see if anything else does happen. I saw some of you talking about that on the in the chat there. But again, thank you so much for all the kind words about the trades that we're showing you. And next week it'll be Obi and Neil, as I'll be taking the week off. We'll go up, visit the in-laws, play some baseball, hopefully do some golfing with my father. Should be some fun time.
Nice. That's the best.
We're getting, well, I mean, time is, thing is, you don't do things now, you run out of time.
There's a good stat. I don't know the exact math on this, but like if you think about it, when you talk about the amount of time, it's like the time that you have like with your parents and like the generation above you. It's like you've spent like 80 to 90% of
by the time
you
like,
get to like a certain
it's
age.
like 11 years old or something.
Yeah, and you're at that like everything past when you're a teenager is that last like sort of salvo. So you really, really cherish it, man. Like
crazy.
Like it's absolutely crazy because like I'll sit there and my dad and I will have like conversations, and I would be. When I was younger, it's like, oh man, I want to sit here talking about cricket for an hour with you. But like, we'll just sit there talking. I'm not even that big of a cricket fan. I just enjoy having that conversation. I'm gonna get to AMD when I get to MLGO first. Look, MLGO did the wick out at the 11 level, but on a momentum stock at a level I like, where I already know I want to be the long going into the high, it wicked it out. Immediately there was buyers back above 11. I'm talking instantly, so I just jump right back in. That low is 1190, so 1090. Second I get in, my stop goes right to that level, scalp to the 40. If that same seller shows up at 1180, I would jump out of the trade, but the stop right underneath that 1090 level as well for MLGO. It's starting to slow down. I feel this is getting close to DJT territory. In terms of like it got parabolic, it was parabolic, and then suddenly it just gets to that one high, it tries a second time, but if it puts in like consecutive lower highs, especially underneath that breakout price, DJT was 35, in this case MLGO, it would be that halt price. Like if it puts in a lower high here off this bounce, and then puts another one in underneath that halt price, I'd start looking for the shorts. And I know I had to pay for locates here. Not everybody can short the stock, but here at Real Trading, we have the ability to. So I would wait for it to look weak underneath that $11 level until I went short. For now, still looking at the long and looking for a place to add that isn't the 11 even level on, what's the name of the company here? Micro Algo, Inc. 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 I don't even know what that means.
Micro Algo Inc.
It just broke 12, so now trailing to the 12 level. If it goes into a halt, I'm holding through the halt.
Nice, yeah. I mean, good. You take that to the long side, baby.
Should have had a stop order.
What's up? Yeah, I saw. I mean, I was like, oh, I'll take that 10, and I didn't even put the order in. It's so crazy. Thank you, Aaron. Big brotherly love from Philly. So shout out to Philly. Everywhere I go, I tend to get a Philly sandwich. So the next time, Mr. Aaron Smith, I am in Philly, we will be having a proper Philly cheesesteak. I'm sure you know where to go for that there in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Talk about
They
it.
got great fans, man.
I was gonna say, yeah, their fans are a little aggressive for sure.
Well, that's what I kind of mean. Like they're
Yeah.
they're great if you're cheering for the team. If you're
Right. Yeah. They're no, the fan base. Talk about loyalty.
Oh my goodness! You ever heard the JD Drew story?
No.
No, it was JD Drew was he was a superstar in high school.
Yeah, and then the flop.
And essentially, he was a pretty good player, but he was drafted out of high school by like Philly, and then he didn't sign with them, and then he ends up eventually getting signed a couple of years later, whatever it was, or the next year by St. Louis. Like he makes the big leagues. This is now like 3 or 4 years from the time that he didn't sign with Philly out of high school, and his first game, they did not forget that. I mean, not even a little bit. Like most fans had no clue. We drafted this guy out of high school, he didn't sign with us. They booed the living crap out of this kid. And it's like, I don't know if it was his debut, but it's the first time he played there. So, you know, sometimes I love fans that know that history. I just think it's cool because a lot of times a casual fan wouldn't have remembered something like that, but I love that kind of stuff. The Jays did that with a guy named Tyler Beede. So MLGO, I missed the 12. I didn't have a stop order. As I just said, you would have heard me say under my breath, I should have had a stop order in there. I just didn't even, I was about to put it in when it was breaking 11.50 and it already broke 12. Every 50 pennies was a trail. When it failed 12.50, I just got out of the trade. I think we'll just look for the next available dip buy. I'm still thinking 15 is going to be a short on this thing. But for now, ring the register on it. If you're looking for longs on parabolic movers, this is probably the only thing going. I'm just thinking it's getting a little bit top heavy. And speaking of top heavy, if we get anything in DJT, I'm still looking for an opportunity to jump back into a short there. But yeah, no halt for this on a break. I guess it didn't come close enough to the halt band. But it could easily halt again. And I will not be involved in a halt to the long side up here. It gave one halt in the afternoon. We went long after that. I wouldn't do that again. A little too close to 15.
Too close for comfort. All right, so I almost got longer on Apple. I'm waiting at 208.60. It just fell back in again. So we only have 20% left of all of this. We talked about getting it out when it hit the VWAP position right there. And that's exactly what we did at this top. So we got out multiple trades out there. The only thing that I'm a little bit, not embarrassed about, but we could have taken that out. We probably should have done that. 184 and change. So let's just do that right here on Tesla and end the trade. So I just offered 183.99. It went to the spot. You know, like I said, I don't need to be, okay, there it is right there, props it up. We are now out as it takes out 183, and now we are out of our Tesla trade for basically $1. I mean, it's not, it's 90 cents. So if we would have waited, but we don't really care about that dollar club. That's something fun that we do. So anyways, we'll take it out ahead of 184, get that out, spin it up, and see what happens next. Apple, again, I will put another offer in and around 209.40. Maybe that comes in, maybe it does not. But someone that is ready to come in right now is Adara at the desk.
Some news here for DuPont, Dana and Moores, which just got a nice pop up here. DD on the NYSE. This went up 2.5%. Nice volume candle here. Bloomberg reporting that the company's water unit has attracted some interest from some potential buyers here. So this report just coming out here. DD up on news, guys.
Yeah, it looks like it's already.
I made a water play a long time ago and it got bought out. It was actually one of the better trades I've ever made.
Which one?
I can't. Was it Westwood, like West Water something? I have to look it up. This is honestly like 10 years ago. It was a very, very long time ago. It was when my wife was like so against Nestle because they were just bottling up water and trying to sell it to everybody, and then as well as rape Africa with all their giving the pablum and all that stuff that. So really bad stuff there. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Apparently I just made it something, but so I was into water and then like a water for purification thing, and it got bought out. So, but yeah, DuPont there, DD I believe is what it is, to come have a quick look at that. So yeah, I guess they have, I don't know if it's water purification. I don't know what kind of thing they're doing here, but I like that. So maybe I'll have to look into this story and what exactly they could catch for that, because I do like that story there. Anything to do with fresh and clean water. It sucks to make money off of it, but it doesn't suck, but on people's lack of resources. But that is something right now, especially in this world, all that fresh water with the population getting out of control. So
it's one of the, it's a weird thing because the technology for desalination it's old technology. It can be done effectively. You just wonder why it's not done more. But you know, I don't want to get all tinfoil hat on people, but Elon Musk had a pretty good interview. I'm trying to remember who he was talking to. He's done a bunch of.
Oh yeah.
No, but he had I'm trying to remember exactly who it was, where he was trying to school them on the whole notion of resources not really failing us as much as we tend to think, or it gets made of. But once again, here comes. So I want DJT, but it's nowhere near. It's not breaking down through VWAP, so I guess it's just. Whatever. There might not be a trade in DJT this afternoon. It's 3 o'clock now. MLGO just did a wick shimmy. Here I use your term there, Sharif. He's not here. Oh, he's gone. So 13.
Is it past 2 o'clock?
Yeah, it's like 3 o'clock already. Yeah. It just made a fail of the 13 level. So the whole price still pretty obvious. Like the $11 area there could be a bit of a dip. I don't want to look short yet. I think you got to wait around for that. It's not quite at the price where I'd be looking for a short on MLGO. It's probably still along there. It might have been Rogan. See the Cav in the chat. I don't remember. I don't want to say it's Rogan, and you guys go look for Elon talking to Rogan, because it might have been somebody else where he was talking specifically about resources and how there's a bit of a myth that we don't have enough resources out there. The will sometimes, or the ingenuity. Sometimes it takes somebody with an idea to start a business where the incentive is there to push the envelope, and profit sometimes is a good thing, because it drives people to do better. But MLGO pulling back a little bit. I'm out of it. I'm looking for the next available bounce. Got to show me something. ARM, nothing happening there. There was something else I wanted to look at. It was a firm. I don't know. Like a firm is just it's super strong. I guess like next available dip is probably the only thing. Previous high 33.5. It dips into 33.5. Look for the long there. 13% up today. It's so hard not to want to just be short at 34. Like I'm going right back into like this level. When this failed the breakout of this channel, which had been around for like a year, 34 was the top. It is very tempting to short 34. That said, a long bouncing off 33.5, there's still 50 pennies in there. You risk 10 cents. It's like 50 cents till it gets to that high. 33.60 is not 34. So I think there's one more push it can have before I'd start thinking short on a firm. Huge move for a firm. Didn't believe in it enough. I flipped to the short. That was a mistake. We should have stayed with the long. Because if I stay with the long in a firm, I'm probably going long off these levels instead of covering shorts off of those levels. And that, it seems like a small thing, but it's a big thing. Because when you like a long in an idea and you're buying the dips, you're probably going to stay more committed to the direction that you were biased to in the morning. That's just human nature. So I think I would have done a lot better on the long sticking with it than even getting a successful short, which we did have. Adara, what's up?
And Walmart here. Neither stock is moving too much, but this story coming in here from Chain Store Age, which is a news outlet focused on retail-related news, saying that Walmart is expanding its digital marketing efforts on both TikTok and Roblox. Sounds like they're doing some AR-related updates, but here's Walmart, WMT not moving too much, RBLX. A little bit of a volume spike in the last couple candles, but keep an eye on both those names with that in mind, guys.
All right, we just got a new position. Let's go. We're back into NVIDIA. I don't know, man. It's 30 cents in the money. Well, sorry, we're long at 120.08. It's, yeah, 30, 20, 25, 20 cents in the money right now. Not trying to take it out. I just put an offer at 50s. I mean, I always like to take something out if we can get to like a bigger level. So we'll wait for 120.50, kind of where we were before. We've been up here before and stopped on a dime. So we'll see if it can get going. I mean, here's just another 25-cent winner. I told you, man, there's a handful, less than a handful of positive traders, right? It's not, trading is not something that's like you can just like pile into. You got to be specific. You got to wait for your trades. That's why like MLGO, people are saying it's making their month and things like that. That's great. Like that's the kind of stuff. When you find good trade, you want to have confidence to be able to put on some shares and make the right decisions and make the right trades, right? And I think that hopefully, you know, I'm helping and we're helping you guys get to that level of your trading careers, right? And so, you know, I feel very proud to have watched Obi and talked to him about all that kind of stuff. And I know that he's a disciple of that kind of stuff. So let's just stay with everything. We'll take a piece out right there again, and that would be, you know, just for entertainment purposes. Another one. So we'll drop it down now, and there goes NVIDIA breaking back above. Let's just hold on to this. I mean, we got out of that. We got, like, look what we have so far. Here's Apple, boom, right? We talked about that. We've got NVIDIA trying to go. I don't know if it will. Tesla was a really good one, man, but unfortunately we didn't take it to the highs. We got a little nervous on that fade. At least we got 184s. We just missed out on, like, you know, realistically 185, 184.25 probably would have been the best. So I do feel like we've given something up. If I were to exit out of these trades, we'd be close to our high of the day. So we've given some back messing around. We showed you some Apple trades. We could talk, I mean, it's unbelievable that where Palantir is right now, that we had this break of 24 and then wound up losing when it came back through. So yeah, lots of fun stuff happening. And Dara, give us some more fun.
Feds Daily is still talking. Really interesting note coming here. I just wanted to put this out there as well. Feds Daily is saying that, according to some contacts, AI could actually be a deflationary force because I guess Feds Daily's contacts have been saying that there is some cost reduction through AI. So interesting note in AI coming from a Fed speaker here, guys.
Yeah, well, the notion would be that a lot of products and services get more efficient through AI, and the other part would be when you get a rotation, like some jobs might go away and turn into other jobs, and when that rotation happens, it's bad for labor short term, and, you know, costs go down because you get more efficiencies, and on top of that, if the labor market suffers in the short term, that also drives costs down. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know that he's saying anything that, I mean, whatever. Like, that's probably the most I've used an economic degree in the last 20 years, just saying that last sentence or a couple of sentences for you guys. But yeah, I don't think there's anything too crazy about that. ARM is at VWAP. Affirm, I just tried to grab the long here off. Affirm just started to go. Like, there's that $33.50 level. So it started to break back up. Let me zoom it in for you. When it started breaking above the 60 level, I jumped in at like 65, did not get picked up as it's continuing to run higher. So I'm trying to grab this 65 with the stop at the 33.5 level. MLGO, my goodness, that was yeah, it's still trying. Still trying to make the break of the next high. So if it makes another break of the high, like the last time it took out a high break, there was a consolidation over that worked. So I think maybe the same thing at 13 here. If it can break out, like the 12 break, you know, was pretty clean. The 11 break wasn't quite as clean. I think the 13 break, look for a consolidation pullback off of that on MLGO, one of the strongest runners that we've seen this afternoon. I just want to look for the next trade in this stock. It just hasn't broken that top yet. Now it's like 15 minutes since this thing has made a high, as it's failed the 13 level like 3 times already. Check that 4.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can look at, yeah, it's a good call. We can look at some AMD for sure as well. Or sorry, some GameStop as that continues.
Is that going?
I don't know if it's going or not, but people are saying, like, you know, who doesn't want to trade AMD or GameStop or NVIDIA? So we are in NVIDIA, so that's going to be the one here that we're hoping that can get to the upside. So we're already in the money now, 50 cents. Let's see if it goes. Apple's trying to go, so let's look at GameStop because it has been something that we've left. At least I've left for dead here and sort of stopped looking at it. So yeah, I thought we had a good move early. Yeah, we did. So 24.50. I mean, you know, last week we wrote down every single day how much we liked 23, and then today it came right into 23, and we didn't even trade it long. So that's a mistake for sure. I mean, forget about it. You can look to see where it is right now. It's only at 23.80. It's not like it's a huge trade. But that 23 level on the daily, that's it right there. I mean, it's been bouncing off of it. It was good back in May, all of June. So, you know, despite what Roaring Kitty's been talking about, that 23 level has been holding. So it's been a really, really good trade right there on GameStop. So just off the 20-minute chart, yeah, looks good. And then so does the short too, right? I mean, the short at 25.26 also. So right now stuck in a $3 range. So there's the last time it broke, and we did gap into 18. So that's the worrisome. But this is all of June right here. Right, and so we haven't been there since the beginning. So, you know, you would watch out for this because a break there of 22.70 or so, maybe you gap fill back into this 20.50. So I would just say watch out for that. Yeah, Adrian, thank you so much for gifting that that membership. So I only have 10% left of Apple, which is why you are right. I mean, I just got a piece out at the 50 period. Like I'm like 21 cents or whatever, 23 cents in the money. We'll take it on Apple. It doesn't look like it's overly strong. So I do agree with you. I'll average back into the 60s. If it breaks the 50s, we're out. So we'll try a dip buy opportunity in Apple later on. NVIDIA is still in the pocket. I don't really care about that. It's 30 cents in the money. We'll try to look for something else. It's too bad we didn't buy Starbucks off some of those bottoms. GameStop.
Nike was in play. Just very quickly, close to, we're not at VWAP. We just got our first salvo into ARM, as it just popped the 153 level. This local high is like 154 even. 153 like 90 something, but close enough to 154 even. If it takes that out, we're jumping out of the trade, but we're short into that. MLGO starting to slow down a little bit. I don't know, man. It's every single time it breaks 13. Remember when I say there's not a lot of buyers above the 13 level? This right here is the first time that I'm seeing like stacked bids above the 13 level on MLGO. So it's looking a little bit stronger here off the 13 level. I'd like to see those buyers get tested now that they've stepped up, like fill them. And if they refresh at 13 even, look for a long in that regard. Just sort of something here, like at 11, it was the same thing. Like it broke 11, it came back. The buyer stepped in above 11. We're able to get 11 and a quarter. That's what I'm looking for. So now you're getting a bit of a retest of 13 even here, where I'll look for an entry. It'll be a relatively tight stop. I mean, that local bottom is like 1270 or so. So ideally, you risk under 30 cents if you can, but it might not give the entry that we want. It might just take out the top as strong as the sucker is. And Affirm, yeah, Affirm just wants 34 at this point. So I have, like my level twos right now are ARM, MLGO, Affirm, and I do have one up of Apple, just checking in on that one, but Apple's not doing anything. I might put that to another stock at this moment. But right now, we're looking at Affirm 34, MLGO, hold that bid, hold that bid. Now they're starting to retest the 13 even pretty decently here. And those buyers have not stepped back up. They're still hanging out down around 13 flat. So there's a test of 13 even. If they step right back up, I'd probably go for a 10 long, stop just underneath the 13 level. So here it comes, break 10, break 10, break 10. Do I even get it? Not chasing, there we go. And then if it doesn't hold this 13 here, then I just quickly jump out. So it's just like last time when it retook that 11, we got the dip. It was a little faster to do it, I feel like, when it broke 11, came back down. But I'm doing the same thing in here at 13 with a relatively tight stop. And if it, like I said, if it gets to $15, I'm thinking this stock is a short regardless of the setup. So I at least will not be any longs. Every 50 cents is a thing for me. And Affirm 34, I don't want Affirm to go down. I'm not here hating on the stock, but that's that level on the daily chart. If it gets up there and shows me a curl, I want to short it. So the only new position is MLGO. We're in ARM to 134, and Affirm is 20 cents away from the $34 level. Looks pretty spicy up there. NVIDIA is going as well. I know Sean's in NVIDIA, as I can look over and see it. VWAP could come into play for that stock as well. But ARM's already at VWAP, or not really. It's like 50 cents from VWAP. I got 30 short, 34 is the big level on that one. It's just MLGO when it's flying around like this. I always have a stop. But if it does a wick of the high, break the high, fill 50s, and then immediately fail back in, I might just want to jump right out of that trade under 13. The higher it goes, the halt bands also move with you. I never want it failing a top, and then my stop is outside of like a halt band. So once it's like $1 away, I want to make sure that I'm protected. For now, underneath 13 is good, and I have no worries about it. But if it gets to that 14 level, you know how I roll. I'm just going to get out in front of the 14 and then hold the rest for a 14 break on MLGO. Oxy apparently is really strong, according to Benton. I'll have a look at Oxy. You know what's interesting is I didn't buy Oxy this last round, and I'll get there in a second. I just want to see if I can get the fill at the 75s. There's a stacked offer, 75s to 78s. I should just take 70s if I can here on MLGO. That micro algo just continues to go higher and higher and higher. There's that 70 seller again, so I just jumped in front of them at 70 even. It doesn't matter. Like if I'm thinking out is at 13 3/4 at 75, and somebody shows up on the offer at 74, then I'm just offering 71 or 72 in that situation. Like, who cares? My stop is now going to go right underneath that 13, almost to a T, as we rang the register there. And no, Danny C, I will not check out SoFi because I value my own sanity.
Yeah, watch out for SoFi.
You know what? Actually, you know what? No, that's silly, because I actually made a decision on SoFi on my personal account. that I'm going to go over here, because SoFi has been an absolute dog. I know it's bounced today, but when it made this move today, my daily chart doesn't want to, oh, come on, Dave. There we go. So when it made the move just today, like it broke this November low right in here. And then this is the hold. So it's recovered back above this November 2023 low. If it loses $6, I'm just dumping half of my personal account. Like, I don't want to say like F it, but like that's kind of what I feel about it right now. Like I can just put that in the bloody queues at this point and it would do a heck of a lot better. I'll find a better shot play on something that's depressed. It's just, if it can't make a turnaround after this hold, get past the 50, get past the 200, then I don't need to be, having this one in my shot play account, which is like our TFSA account. So my frustration with SoFi is that it'll do like this. It'll give like one good day, maybe 2 good days, but there's zero follow through to break the trend out. So I'm frustrated with the stock. It is what it is. I hate its guts. But I shouldn't avoid talking about it just because my personal account is like the shot play that didn't work. Doing better on Tellurian than I am in SoFi. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Tellurian's a penny stock. Oh, there's the Huadong play. There they did it. I'm not short the stock. Just very, very quickly here. This is not a short. I had a take profit on MLGO. And then if you have a take profit for the rest of your shares and then you punch out, it's just going to code it as short. This was me getting out when it came through the break-even price on MLGO. So I'm not short the stock. You'll be able to see in the position board I'm only in ARM right now. But this is why we get out in front of the 14, because it can do this at any moment. And I thought 15 was going to be the high, 14.25. That's close enough. I'm not hunting longs through the high anymore on MLGO. We're going to take the money and run. I'm not looking to gift horse in the mouth. 250%, it can go further without me.
All right, good job there on MLGO, putting another positive name on the board. I like that one. Okay, so I was just looking at NVIDIA, and I'm going to take a piece out here in the 40s if it comes back up. I thought I was offering 40. I am. I don't know why. Okay, 37s, 39s, 40s. Okay, good. We just get the 40 right there, so it's just another 40 cents. It's just kind of like, whatever. Let's wait to see how far it goes now. We'll just take out some more profit there on NVIDIA and just start to, stack up a little bit here as we get into the close. I was just looking at some names that were positive or negative today. I mean, obviously Coinbase, that was a name that we had written down as a short, but again, left it alone. We were looking actually, I think it was around this 213. Yeah, that's where VWAP is. So we are coming back up to the upside right now on Coinbase. So something to look at here as we approach VWAP. So, all right. Crypto, we normally have it at the bottom. What is that? 61s or 60,100. Yeah, this looks like a decent opportunity, right? So again, besides the spread, which doesn't look too bad right now on Coinbase, 30 cents, maybe when it opens up, maybe a little bit more than that, you still have it underneath VWAP. I mean, I would much rather not have to fight 200 and the 50 period. I'm almost thinking about a break lower would be better at this point if it does come through, like a break of 211 to the downside. That doesn't give you any trade idea right now, but that is something that could come through if the Bitcoin, I guess, loses this level. But then you might just want to be short up here anyways into VWAP. So we could put a trade on. That's 214 or so for Coinbase. Apple, again, we'll leave that alone. 213.90s or so. Let's see if we can get something. We'll put an offer up there for Coinbase. So right around here, and then that stop is 214.30. So some opportunities to do something with Coinbase if it does come. We'll try to short against VWAP and then get out if it breaks too much higher than that, maybe even at 215. Like worth holding $1. If crypto loses at the end of the day, we can come into 210. Feel like that'll be a good, $4 for $1. Pretty good. Like I said, we're pretty much at the highs for ourselves all day. You guys were mentioning there for Tesla, keeps on going. Yeah, I mean, we had the bottom there and nothing else I can do about that. I've reloaded the Hydration Nation, so where is it? Here it is right here as we still have that headache. Normally the weather looks nice. I didn't sleep. I slept maybe a couple hours last night, so that's probably why. But it doesn't really bother the performance out here. Just give me a headache right now. We'll still do the market recap show. And then, I don't know, figure it out. My daughter wants to do swimming or something after. So we'll figure out that. 120.35 coming upside for NVIDIA. So I have no more offers. If the market wants to rally, I feel like it might be on the back of NVIDIA. So we're above the 50 period. Let's go. We're in this name. We're now in the money 40 cents. It's the name that I'm going to wait for. It's NVIDIA to the long side. And then maybe we're able to be lucky enough and buy some Apple on a dip. I just don't know if it's going to get into there. Tesla continues. And then the other trade that I had set up was Coinbase. So if Coinbase can come into 214, then we'll take that. But right now it just dripped off since we talked about it. I guess we should have just punched in. Oh, well. See a coin. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, John. I mean, it is downside. We could have just punched the short on that when it was up here, but I don't know. Down 80 cents from that level. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, coin taking it on the chin a little bit, but that's 60,000. I don't wonder if there's like a failed break set up there. I'm going to look at IBIT in a quick little second, although I realized, in this case, a failed break would be a long. You don't have to. We have to pay for locates on IBIT here at Real Trading, but a failed breakdown would be a long off of that 60,000 level. But a firm did get to 33.95. It's set up, basically set up here. There's the push into 95, then wicked it, came back and consolidated. So I'm short here at 90. If it breaks the top, we get out. Try to keep it simple. That MLGO, I think we made the right call. Obviously, you could get it all out at 14 even, but I was holding some for another push. Now you're getting that lower high. I don't want to say it's going to dump into VWAP, but if I was still long in this thing and asking myself where could it go to the downside, the whole price is $10.70 and VWAP is $8. So you try to use your imagination as to how far this could drop in to the downside if it does start to give it up at the end of the day. Will it go underneath $10? I don't know. If I was completely convinced that were true, I'd be willing to short it and give it $1 to the high. But I'm not that convinced that this is the spot. I want to see it put in a lower high, which it really hasn't been doing yet. Every single dip kind of gets held and it holds the previous level, like it holds a previous breakout, it breaks it out, it's still holding this kind of previous support level. Show me that you've stopped doing that, and I would look for a short trade in MLGO. A little too parabolic for now. DJT was one of the other ones. Kind of wanted to replace that Apple level 2. But DJT, no, it's not up at the high of the day yet either. But it's getting there. It's trying. It's making its best effort to get up to that high of the day. And Affirm, we took our one swing at the 34 level. That's going to be it. Probably should have got that dip by at 33.50, but I elected not to chase. If you chase it up at 70, then all of a sudden I'm risking 25 cents to make 20 to 25. I don't like that risk to reward on Affirm, so I'd rather look for the short opportunity at that 34. And if it goes, I don't mind if it goes without me. Just try to stick to your plan. 34 was the level that I had all day long to look for that short. I'd rather have been long into it, but you can't go back in time. You just got to make that next trade, right? Like to focus on the next trading opportunity wherever it happens to be. Could be MLGO. It could be back in DJT up at that top. Maybe it's still over on AMD, which I always say it's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. Didn't quite get to 163. Someone had asked, is it time to short it? Well, if you were listening to me this morning, 163 is that level. 162.5 is not where I want that thing. It's at 63. Super strong name today. And it's gone red to green several times. Adara?
Another small cap here on the move, popping into high of days here in strong volume. As we get into the close here, Soluna, SLNH. This one had an NVIDIA-related catalyst earlier today, unleashing its first batch of NVIDIA GPUs, looking for $80 million in revenue over 3 years. Worth noting as well, this one has a float of about 2.74 million shares. Pretty small float for SLNH, guys.
Thank you, Adara. I'm trying to buy some different names. I want to buy some Caterpillar. That's pulled back. That's into 330. So is this name right here. These guys have everything, man. I went to Home Depot yesterday. I want to make sure we got that in there so you can see the Canada flag and the beautiful weather that we had. I actually showed this to Randy, who was like, oh my God, we didn't have any sunshine at all this weekend, but there it is right there. We went there and we got one light bulb. It was 94 cents for an LED light bulb. I was like, okay, all right. One of the light bulbs in the bathroom went out. So my kid was like, Dad, I can't see anything. Give me a break. But anyways, there it is right there. Let's go. So we just take 50 cents on Coinbase. I mean, it's not Bizarro World. This is actually happening. We talked about shorting Coinbase at 214. There's the take at 213.50 to take that. So I guess it was 40 cents or so. Did I get 50s exactly? Yeah, so 40 cents on this take. We're only out of a third. Let's see if it wants to drop back in. So that's just one quick trade. Playing the spread. We said last week that although Meadow, that one day was an amazing trade, the spread is just... gets a little wild. So this Coinbase might not be a win. At the end of the day, I have no idea, but we sat there and got ran over. So we'll take that. And now let's just see. I'm trying to, now that we're out of a third, I've sort of changed the stop. I don't want to wait for this 217. I mean, that's, you can't take 40 cents and then lose $2. So obviously that's not going to be happening. But I want to try to give this a little bit of room. So I was going to give it to 215, which is right here. So it's a little bit higher than that, 215.20 or so. We'll give it to that break. It still could turn out to be a losing trade, but we have taken some risk off of it. So at the end of the day, just trying to see what Bitcoin does here into the cash close for the NASDAQ. So we'll see if it can hold up to 60. We're at 60 right now. Obviously, if it loses it, I feel a lot better about this position. But as a Bitcoin bull myself, I don't want this position to fall out. I have to talk to Michael Noss about this. He's going to be on the recap show because, and this is what I mean about knowing your own game. You know, he called Coinbase and crypto one of the best looking charts. It's now down 20% from that call. You know, it's like you have to be able to get in and out. Now, I've talked to Michael about this.
Did he say it was a buy? It was very...
Yep. And that's the thing, right? So it's like you got to look out for those things and you got to trade your own stuff. You know, so that's the one important thing because everybody can call shots, but at the end of the day, the only shot that matters is the one that you guys take, right? Because it's your own account, so that's exactly. you want to make sure that
it's like what's your trade? Because like I remember him saying it, but I actually don't remember what his exact trade thesis was, so I couldn't even say. Because it does matter. Like you could maybe it's a huge swing that hasn't even broken a support level. Maybe you liked it to 58. He's risking 20%. I have no clue. But you got to know your time horizon. Like if your time horizon is long enough, maybe you could be long at like 62 or 63. Say I'm giving it to the big massive 58 level on the daily on Bitcoin. I was just tracking IBIT. If it false breaks the bottom here, I do like a reversal. So when I mean false break, 34 is the actual low. If 60,000 gets wicked underneath, which it's underneath 60,000 right now, if it holds that level, then I want to look for a rebound trade on IBIT. So we've done this before, but I just need to see it actually breaking the low, which is not happening yet on IBIT. I don't have to pay for locates because it would be a long false bottom break, which is oddly enough 33.98 exactly on IBIT. So it would be a pretty clean opportunity, I think, on IBIT if it does happen. MLGO still trending higher. I don't know if we're going to get the short opportunity in this. I'd love it to fail this top again. Like ideally, it would break the high, turn at 15, and then short back underneath 14. Doesn't matter what I want to happen in terms of a setup. Either you get it or you don't. So that's what I'm looking for. If we get it, then fine. ARM, we're into this one off 154. It's been sideways most of the afternoon off this level. But if it breaks 154, that's a pretty decent trend break with like a triple bottom at 151. Just to give you an idea of how big a deal 151 is, this is 151 on ARM. So at this point, like I've gone from green to red on ARM, but we're down about 1/5 of my best day on ARM last week, and I'd say about half of my second best day on ARM. So when it comes to ARM, I know you got to give it a little bit more, and it's at a pretty big level. So I want to respect it, but the 154 is going to be the stop. And yeah, I'm probably taking a 150 break anytime it happens this week. The more I look at this, I just feel like it's like the 120 when it happened. It's like you just want to be there. When it broke that 120, you saw what happened to it. The 150 is feeling eerily similar for ARM.
All right. Yeah, look, I mean, I like ARM there today, too. They're being added to the NASDAQ or something, aren't they?
Well, they got added to the NASDAQ 100 today, effectively today.
Okay.
Effective today, not
Effective
effectively
today, okay. So some good catalyst there for
Good
sure.
juju.
So hopefully Coinbase will hit 213. I mean, that's where the 50-period moving average is. We'll take $1 if we can get that. I'd be happy with it. Again, the market, I'm watching Bitcoin right here, so it's not like we don't have it up. Hopefully it will crack lower and we will be able to get that fill in and around 213.10s. So if that can push back, we would definitely appreciate some love on that one there, Bitcoin and Coinbase. It doesn't have to be for a long time, it just has to be for a good time. Okay, so NVIDIA, again, it's really just doing this. You know, a break below maybe where we even got in is not looking good. You never like to see a sort of this kind of happening and then break lower because you're definitely going to test a 200 period, which is 119.80. Where am I long at? 120. All right, look. This it did not work out as good as I thought. I mean, we don't even have that many winning trades. Well, we do. NVIDIA, like I said, is the #1 stock. But at the same time, we want to make sure that, you know, we have it the right way. We were short. All my money today, all the money made on NVIDIA today, short, except for now. So now we're long, we're going longer, but it's just stopping out here. So I feel like this break of 119.85 or so, let me switch where my stop is. Actually, my stop is already at 119.75. So, okay, we'll just keep it there. I see it's like I've already had that idea. So we'll wait for it. Hopefully it goes back up to the upside. And as I say that, of course, props it up for holding it, I guess. It is now a little bit in the money, not enough for us to be super happy with it, but there it goes, back up to those highs again, into the 50s and 60s. Let's see if it wants to break higher. That ultimately is the play for me on that one. Palantir is really, it should be P&L #1, but unfortunately that move didn't continue, so we weren't able to put any damage on this name. We punched a big position, long through, and then it just faded back out the rest of the way until eventually we lost VWAP and lost patience with it. And it kind of just stopped. Again, you know, when you look back, trading always seems easy, but it stops again right at sort of that level that we created in and around 940. So we'll have to look at that, man. 2360, 2370, silly me. Like that 200 period really has been respected the whole time. Look, I have notes. Like these are notes for myself, the sticky notes that I give to everybody, my trade ideas. But then I'm also making more and more notes to make sure that mentally I can trade off different strategies every day. So we're going to now look at maybe the 200 period a little bit closer on plays like this, and you know, something to do. So we'll try to get better on that. We should have made more money there on Palantir. So it looks like crypto's holding 60,000. I don't know. I'm still going to give this a 215. It might not be a great trade, that's for sure. So we'll wait on that one as it's trying to go higher and higher right now. Still in the money and still pretty happy with it. I just want to show you Apple just collapsed. So boom. So right there goes Apple. Apple's starting to go lower right now. So, okay, I'm going to get out of NVIDIA. There we go. I'm out of NVIDIA. We'll take 25 cents on that one and get out of it at 30s. Let's just wait to see if something else cracks lower right here. Out of Apple. Market trying to go lower right now. What's up, Adara?
Let's take a look at some of the names on the S&P 500 making larger moves to the upside or downside today. There are kind of a few interesting ones here, including Target. Target to the upside here, about 2 4/5% here, teaming up with Shopify for some new merchants coming to Target Plus. So Shopify helping with that team up there. Good look for TGT here, guys. Next up, we have OXY. This and many other oil and gas names trading higher as we have some tensions in the Middle East leading to an increase in crude oil prices. Nice look as well for OXY and some other names there, Occidental. Last but not least here, RMD. This one decidedly to the downside. We're down about 12% right now for ResMed. This one traded lower initially on Friday after this news came out with Eli Lilly's sleep apnea data. This company, ResMed, basically does a lot of sleep apnea related treatments. So the success for Eli Lilly, not a great look for RMD here. Also getting a downgrade this morning from Citigroup, guys.
Like what don't they do? Like it's just like,
Citigroup?
No, Eli Lilly.
Oh, Eli Lilly.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
like
God,
you kind of eventually get to the point where it's like, okay, well, Eli Lilly is like, they're just a bully at this point. You don't want them in your space. You don't want them competing with you. And yeah, that's not good for RMB. But great for Eli Lilly shareholders as always. But that stock just continues to fly. Super strong name. Oxy. So Occidental's up that 4%. The only thing I want to mention is I know I've said that I've been buying the stock in the 50s every time it gets there and doing, you know, like buy it in the mid 50s and then take some out when it gets into the high 60s, 70s in the daily. I did not get in this time because I felt like this consolidation under 60 was next step 56, 57. So I'm not in it, and I'm kind of disappointed because the breakout looks like it's pretty real here on Oxy. Unfortunately, it's doing so without me. For the MLGO crowd, it's trying to go. I think the notion of any kind of a short setup off the 15 might not happen. I think if there's a test of 15 at this point, it's starting to look like it could be in the aftermarket, right? So, and we talk about this all the time. You have halts and you have liquidity in the regular market, and then the market closes, and a stock like this has a much easier path to go $1 or $2 at a time. So it might be making that move. I guess we might not have any short, which is perfectly fine by me. If it doesn't set up, we don't have to take it. ARM is still holding this consolidation under 153. Not really flushing, but the market's also going sideways in this range. Firm, good thing we got out of that one. It's just gliding higher off that 34. So we took our shot when it made a top. unless I see weakness selling underneath 34. Like, what are you going to do? I have it up that if it fails back down under here, I'd take another shot because it's at the right level on the daily chart where it's at that resistance spot, but I don't want it breaking out. I want it turning at that level. So all we got is ARM. Would love to be an MLG if it's going to do something. DJT, which we had earlier. It turned off the 35 level. I mean, I wasn't really fast enough to get over to it. I put that level 2. My DJT level 2 went over to MLGO when we're trading it. I don't regret that, but it was still on MLGO when this curled at 35 even. So if you're trading DJT, 35 clearly still has some big sellers on it from before. But it's just ARM. It's in the money about 20 cents, but I wanted to go 50 before we get any out. And Elon in the chat saying Pan W a dip buy opportunity. I have not traded Pan W in at least a couple of weeks.
I don't know what's that.
Yeah, dip buy like now because it's not on the daily chart. It's not really at any of the key levels it's had before. Like 260 has been a big one. The 200 period's now being respected in here. So that would be like 290, 295. There's kind of a 310 level. The 50 periods at 300. But I don't see a dip buy on Pan W. I see it rejecting 325. I don't love what's happening at 325 here. After the earnings bounce, stall at 325. In May, stall at 325. A couple weeks ago, stall at 325. Then today, it stalled at 325. So I think this could be a breakout through 330. I'm not really liking what I see on the daily chart. It would have to pull back to the 50 period for me to like any kind of dip buy on Pan W. Not as healthy as it was, but 260 is still a good level.
All right, just so everybody's aware, we did get out of the other third of Coinbase. We only have a third left. If it breaks view up, we're out, which looks like it's going to happen right now. There it is. We are out and still up on Coinbase. Wow, that was pretty lucky that we're able to get that fill. I just looked down and was like, we're not breaking. If we break 60, we're breaking 60, but not for right now. And just real quick, I also see somebody in the chat saying, hey, what do I think about tomorrow, right? So this is it already. So I wrote this today when the NASDAQ was flat. You know, still feeling slightly bearish today. We wrote this at 8:30. So the NASDAQ was, I think, it was down 0.15 or something like that. The NASDAQ went down over 1%, and we were feeling bearish. So stay tuned for tomorrow. I'll tell you how we feel about that tomorrow. I am still feeling bearish for the rest of the week, but we'll wait to see, you know, my true opinion tomorrow when we see the setup and how some of these stocks react to said bullish or bearishness. So what just happened there? Oh, shoot. All right, we don't mean to be short there. Coinbase, that was an old trade. So, okay, what's up, Adara?
Another name moving around here late in the day is Blackline, BL. This one got a little bit of a pop-up here and then fell a little bit, circulating around here on social media. This report from Street Insider saying that Blackline is apparently the target of this PE takeover approach. So potential takeover rumors going around here for BL Blackline, guys.
Blackline, eh?
I always find it, like, it's not funny.
Damn you, NVIDIA.
It's not funny for anyone that bought that, but when I see like a deal speculation, it breaks out on deal speculation, and then 10 minutes later, it's underneath the price when they announce the news. I never see that as a good thing. You want stocks to continue when they break, especially on something like that, because that means the premium might not be good. Kohl's, shout out to anyone that's been looking at Kohl's today. KSS, 30% short float, I want to say, and in the midst of another break. We probably could have been looking at this in lieu of MLGO or something else that's been parabolic, but it just took out the high. It's a little bit high for a chase, but the reason I was looking at that 15-minute, pulling to the 3-minute to show you guys, I don't know if I'd be going long here at 337. It's just way too close to the top. But when you look at it on the 15, as long as it's holding this 24.40 tomorrow in the 24 area, I think you could look for a continuation tomorrow. It's trying to fill in a gap, which started at like $27. So as long as it's in that pocket, hey, you got a short float that big and you want to run, well, when the market is weak, show me a stock that doesn't care. And that's a stock that at least the next day I'm going to look for a long setup. Doesn't mean I'm going to find one, but at least I'll be looking for it over there on Kohl's. So shout out to that. And I appreciate everybody in the chat. It's what I love about the community and the realest thing about trading is you can't look at every single stock. Like this stock has an 8% have been trending all day long, and I think that's like the first time I pulled it up today. So thank you everybody for pointing this one out. I'm going to put it on my list to go over tomorrow morning. The only thing I'm in is ARM. That just pulled back into the 153 even, so I took some out at the $0.50 as it's starting to go now, but I feel like this should really be falling, and I don't wonder if that 150 level is looming And the bounce off 151 is just at such a big technical level that there's buyers here again on ARM. Part of the issue for ARM is even when it's overvalued and it starts to fall, so much of this is like institutional. It's like major companies that own this thing and they're not selling. Like Intel's got a piece, Nvidia's got a piece. Nvidia wanted to buy them out outright and they weren't allowed to. So like they're not selling their shares. Intel's not selling their shares. Most people that own this stock, the companies that do and the institutions that do have no intentions of ever selling them. So when it gets to a big level, kind of tends to hang out for a while. Still, I still like the short, but I think that's why it's not following through the 151.
Yeah, I like ARM a little bit for sure. At some point, obviously, they will get sold off, and yeah, I mean, the price to earnings right now is 500. So yeah, you're gonna. I mean, this name will come down and might be down the worst out of all of them. So be ready for ARM coming.
I think you could get to 80 again.
I think you can go lower. It's just a matter of SoftBank, right? I mean, they're gonna want to unload all that. So we'll wait. Yeah, 80 would be great actually. I haven't even looked at the chart, but just when you said it, I was like, 80 seems a little bit lower, but we could get there.
I tried the dip by before.
Yeah, we could get there. Yeah, on earnings, right? It went to 91 or something like that.
It actually went to 86, and I was very stubborn about it and didn't buy. So
so there it is, man. We did get out of NVIDIA for a great out there. It did go back up to VWAP. We panicked when Apple sold, but there it is, a nice little dip down in for NVIDIA as well. So just a lot of volume picking up here into the close. Now, there is not a rebalance, or there's nothing like that happening today, but volume definitely starting to pick up now in many of these names. Apple, again, we'll save ourselves on this one because this could have been disastrous. We're able to get out there at 208.40. And it went all the way down to 207.85. So I feel like what I mean by saving some cash there is like, it wouldn't have been disastrous, but I would have used 208 as my out. So the fact that we're out there saving ourselves about 40 cents and didn't have to panic when we went right into the low of the day. And then it was bought up. So it was bought up into, and we guess the low of the day, right off open, we did crash even into 206.50. I was just sort of meaning this area where we opened up. So 207.75. I'm going to leave Apple alone now. I don't, if we're able to find something else, great. I wanted to look at DraftKings earlier.
Every now and then, only because, look, Apple had that redonkulous, I didn't see the trade, but I saw the trade. You know what I'm saying?
That was a good one.
I saw that breakdown on Apple.
There could be a big sell coming.
That's what I'm saying.
I have literally no idea.
Quarterly rebalances, not quarterly, semi-annual rebalance happens, third Friday. Sometimes on the Monday or like the first trading day after that, you can see some imbalances that are not as big as they were on Friday, but every now and then you can see a little bit of something. So I'm going to have my eyes on Apple for that reason, and probably Apple and Nvidia in that case. I don't think that's not going out on a limb. Like those are the two names that have had those big imbalances almost every single day. So if ARM bounces off 152, I'm going to respect it and jump out. I'm not going to trade MLGO. There's only 8 minutes left before 350. I think it's late in the day for me. But the trail's in on ARM. If it gets back above 152.5, we get out of this one with 8 minutes until the imbalances. There's nothing. I shouldn't say nothing, but nothing of significance on the early look. For names like Visa's there, ASTI, it's there all the time, but it's a penny stock, so 9-cent stock, 2.5 million to buy. That's nothing for that. Like the buying, there's just no buying power whatsoever. And then Kenvue's always there. There's not a significant name, maybe like an HPE, but I promise you. Well, I don't want to say I promise you, but there's a very strong likelihood you're going to see a few things over $1 million. I think at 350, and I think the first culprit would be an Apple or an Nvidia. So I'm going to be geared. I'm not saying Apple's going to flush. Shoot, I was still offering 210 on Apple. All right.
Offering? Yeah.
I don't even know why I had that order out there.
Nice.
I know why I did, but that was like 2 hours ago, so I don't need it anymore. But if we get up here and it pops, like if it has a buy imbalance that at 355 you can curl into like it pairing off and sell off of VWAP, that would be the idea on Apple. I want to participate, not anticipate. If there's no imbalance, I don't want to be sitting there gambling that there is going to be something here. I'll just react to what I might see. And ideally, it would be a short setup, but you never know.
Yeah, so just looking back here in our chat, it was only 718 million to buy and 1 billion to buy on the NASDAQ on Friday. So it turned out to be a big nothing burger on that day. There was some great trades. NVIDIA, the Apple trade was,
What did NVIDIA do?
I only saw it was a sell imbalance, but it wound up going up.
Okay. I only saw the Apple one that you showed. I just never saw NVIDIA.
Yeah, no, the Apple was like pretty epic.
Because NVIDIA only moved like $1 or $2.
Yeah, well, again, it did 400 million shares on the day. It's like it's already 400 million again today. I thought NVIDIA would slow down, 400 million again. All right, you know what? Whatever. We're up on the name. Look at Coinbase.
Another one.
We're short 214. We got out at 214.50. We got a lucky short back in there. We were actually offering more. We were offering up here at 70 because we were going to use 215 as our stop. It looks like we should have used 215 as our stop and taken that average in, because then we'd be averaging it all the way to the bank right now back in. So, but again, it did take 60,000. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh man, I wanted to hold that, because I told you why. Broke 60, held it. And I got out when it was like at 60,100. I think we mentioned that. And straight back to the downside. So crypto, again, leads to be a little bit of a problem spot there. Holding below 60 is not good. So we'll wait on that one. I'll talk to Michael about that if you guys want to hear more about Michael Noss and his crypto talk. We talked about this last week when it broke through. I believe what he was talking about was he was out of the trade. So we'll wait to see it. And again, you know, time frame matters and everything like that. So we'll wait to see if he reversed into the short or if there is another name that he does like. All right, so yeah. I still want to buy NVIDIA, but it's not near it, right? It has to be 118.50 or so, especially with only 5 minutes to go before those imbalances that Neil just mentioned about as well. So you can check that out. If you do want to learn more about some lessons, less trading, but more lessons-based, check out Adara and Sharif there on the midday show. So you can go check them out and see if you have some good stuff. Thank you, Nunya Biz, for the talk there. Meta gonna pop. It looks like NVIDIA might pop off this 200 period moving average. I'm just a little hesitant to do anything with these imbalances coming in. Like I said, it's gonna be a big day, and it won't be if I lose everything. So let's just stay with it, stay in the pocket, and see if we can just sort of, you know, be comfortable and make a play off of those imbalances. Neil's already mentioned SoFi. I'm just seeing some of these names moving around now. Why is SoFi moving?
Like I crapped on it, but SoFi is up like.
Yeah, okay, but it's not really moving around too much now. Okay, so that was a bad.
SoFi needs
take.
a 10% day, not
Rivian.
a 3% day.
SoFi, yeah, SoFi needs.
By the way,
it will have that kind of a day.
I've trailed out of ARM. It's close enough to that 350 level. If I see it making a bottom off that 151 this many times, and it's been a key level on the daily chart, the second it got in here and pulled back and couldn't hold 152, we're out of it. We shorted it into VWAP. We had to wait for this one. So, you know, Affirm didn't work, ARM did work, MLGO did. Although, I gotta say, this is kind of impressive for MLGO. Like, usually when you get to a top like this, you don't consolidate right up at 13. Like, if it fails the $14 level the way that it did, and then holds underneath $14, and VWAP's at 8, I'm not expecting this thing to be hugging 13 the way that it is. So anyone that's in the long, I think that's probably good for it, but anything can happen in 15 minutes when the market closes. It could rip to 15, it could fall to 10. And I will not be involved in either one of those things. Maybe there's a trade tomorrow. The Piper, why is Rivian strong? Because it bounced off $10 in the 50-period moving average. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Because everything else about Rivian has not been strong. But look at the 50-period on the daily, and look where it bounced today. And look at how it rid it before. The only problem with that trade is it never really gave you that dip. Like, it's kind of a false dip. It all happened in the pre-market where it was trading close to Friday's lows. It was really a breakout trade through like 1040. Like, you needed to take this as a breakout, not really a dip buy into support, because look at this, there's no liquidity, no volume, then it just kind of goes off of the open. So unless you were looking for a breakout trade on Rivian, you couldn't really buy off support. If you could have bought in front of 10, I would have done so. Let's go to Adara before the imbalances come out.
We also had a catalyst on Rivian coming out around, it looks like 130 here, but the stock was trading higher before that on RIVN. Reuters reporting that the company is looking to simplify its output and cut costs so that it can make its first profits. So nice look here for RIVN, guys. Just wanted to add that note.
Yeah, thank you, Adara. And sometimes it is technical, and then the continuation can be new. So good for Rivian. I still think it needs to break that 12 level. Until then, it is 10 or nothing. And there goes MLGO. Roscoe in the chat saying, yeah, what are you going to do? There it goes, right through another fresh high, and they're holding the bid above 14. So it's going without me. I'm not touching this thing with a 10-foot pole. I know I said I would look for short at 15, but not at 349. I want there to be time for it to like show me a lower high, show me a more nuanced setup than just standing in front of a moving freight train. Like, I want it failing the top, making a lower high, and jumping into a short. There's almost no chance that it has the time to do that with what we're looking at here. This was not a short. That was me getting out of that long. Just, you know, I'm not sitting short this stock. That'd be insane. If it halts now, it still might have a chance to reopen. Nope. Yeah, it's going to go into a halt. It won't open until 4 o'clock if it does halt here.
Right, yeah. It'll be one last print at 4 o'clock, then go into after hours rules and everything like that, where it cannot halt, of course. NVIDIA's getting absolutely clocked. Look at this Coinbase trade. Oh, yeah, about that Coinbase. About $2, $3 now. All right, well, that stock is definitely not like us, and it's going to definitely ruin the tour, this stock. Oh, man. Okay, so Coinbase coming through again. We'll look at that. Apple, come on, 207. I hear some people in the chat wanting some 207 lows. I don't know if you're going to go long on that or not. But it's NVIDIA right now. My number one stock today, my number one stock since it's split. And here we go, man, breaking through these lows. We saw it flush already a couple times. It's already been down here. This is where we went long on that breakthrough. The 50 period actually got out and then went long on the 200 period, my bad, actually. And then that's right there, 1830. So it looks like that's coming in hot right now. 118.30 is the level to look at. This is near the split adjusted prices of 118. So it did come over at 118. It's coming right back in. And by the way, like, I've already messaged and warned about all of this happening. So we know that NVIDIA is going to pull back at least 20-25%. Okay, here it is. There's NVIDIA. Yeah, big sell, 6 million shares. Betters on there. Apple's a buy.
It's a buy, hands off.
So NVIDIA is a sell of 6 million shares into the close.
So NLGO halted. Obviously, it's not going to open. That Better is the other. It's a penny stock. So that 2 million on Better, like who cares? It's not going to move the stock. Although it's only done 700,000. But Apple came out a buy, and it is pressing higher. What would have to happen is at 350, if it's 354 or 355, and Apple's at VWAP, I think I'd look for a short if it's starting to pair off. Whoops, I don't want to draw a line there. So as long as it's starting to pair off, I'd look for a fade at VWAP. But if it grows, that imbalance of 1.7 million, if it's growing, hands off. Hands off on Apple. But VWAP is a ways away at this particular point. NVIDIA, just because it's 5 million to sell, doesn't necessarily mean it has to break the low of the day. In fact, since the imbalance came out, it's actually bounced off the low of the day. So like, it's not like a carte blanche, hey, big sell imbalance, the stock has to go down. It's trying to make a bit of a bounce here. 355 is a major pairing event, so usually imbalances will shrink in size in a general sense. If an imbalance that's big gets bigger at 355, that can also be a decent trading opportunity. So eyeballs for me, I guess we shouldn't have got out of ARM. ARM just tagged the 151 level, is what it is. I got out with a trailing stop, but I think ARM 150, we might have to have it, and it could be as early as tomorrow morning. And it wouldn't be alone.
Coinbase would be 450 right now, would be 450, is not. We do not have it. I know Neil said hands off of Apple, but we put hands on Apple. It doesn't sound very good right there, but it was not what's for lunch. We already know what's for lunch. This is take a bite of the apple. If you didn't have lunch, go take an apple. Right there, we get some out at 50. If this breaks 209, then we will get out of that one. But there's a quick little trade, a short 209, out 208.50, and here we go. Coming back in for Apple. I mean, we're doing it again. I mean, you guys can clearly see what's good. Apple 208.20s, 208.30s. We'll see if we get something out into the bottom here for Apple. Could still take out 209. If it does, we'll get out of that one. But so far, just sort of stacking it up here. And we could get unstacked, reverse Uno, if it takes out 209 right there. But, I mean, so far, so good. Spider, 1 billion to buy. NASDAQ, 360 to buy. Let's have a quick little look again at these imbalances, which are over here right now. So NVIDIA still with the sell. Yep, boom. I mean, what a good, I mean, come on. Like getting out at 120.20. I mean, that just saved ourselves $2. Of course, we could have reversed it into it, but we did not. Ford Amazon with the sell as well. Oh, yeah. Look, man, it takes some people, again, depending on your style of trading, 20, 30, 50 cents in the money for Apple. Like, this is why we talk about trading at the certain times of day, right? Like, there it is, Apple right there, 40 cents in the money immediately for this trade. Not immediately, but within a minute. So we'll put a bid out there and see if we could take something out into the low 30s, 34, 35. I'm actually at 34. So there it is right there, and that's it right there. So let's go. This time it is another one. It's a couple of them today, man. We've given you Tesla, we've given you NVIDIA, we've given Apple right now. Not only that, we gave this name. Oh man, Fabian, look at this trade here on Coinbase. But what happened? That we didn't even mean to get that trade. It was this one and then stopped out at view up all the way back down. Hey, look, it's a positive name. There's like 6 positive names here today on the floor. Happy to put Coinbase into that, but would have liked to have held on for even a little bit more than that. Good out for Apple right there. If it takes 209, we will get the rest out. It's 353, man. It's been a good one there. I should have a headache more often, I guess.
No, I would.
I hate having a headache.
I never
I'm lucky
believe
to never have migraines.
I never believe in like that whole oh, if something weird or bad happens and it happens to correlate with something decent, it's like nah, it doesn't usually work that way. I'm so thankful. My mother has migraines. And
I'm just so thankful not to.
I'm like again, like I know people that dealt with it in the family. I had one time. Well, at least
You gotta go in like a dark room.
No, it was exactly that.
I know I just didn't get enough sleep.
It was exactly that. Sleep matters. It does. 355 is not hit. Someone said in the chat that MLGO was going to open at 348. I think I know where the confusion came from potentially for you. If you're ever confused about a halt, just go to the NASDAQ Trader Halt page. It gave a quote resumption time of 348. So I saw it gray out. Usually that means it's going to open up at the end of the 10 minutes. But my understanding is usually it won't open until 4 o'clock. I think it's a distinction without a difference. Who cares if it opens at 3:59 or 4 o'clock at this point? It's opening at the close, right?
Right.
So it's an aftermarket trade one way or another on this. And at 355, it looks like we just had the full pair. NVIDIA paired off. Apple flipped to a sell at 355. 1.2 million to the sell side.
We did it again. There it is, man. We just averaged it in again to 209. Now we've got $1 on Apple right there. So although I am out of Hydration Nation, we will still shout out the Hydration Nation members as it goes. Yeah, so, man, there it is, 208. Boom, kaboom. Oh, yeah, a little late. And again, this is a $1 winner, and it took 37 seconds for $1 there on Apple. So again, time of day, right? I mean, you could be sitting this trade the whole time and wondering like, when is this thing gonna move? And then boom, goes the dynamite all the way to the downside. All right, I'm getting bored. All right, we'll punch out there at 1670. We are now out. Good day today. It's gonna be another one of those days for us over here. What's up, Abe?
Following NXL, just be aware here. I just saw this coming through as according to an SEC filing, Nexalin Technologies, NXL, filing a prospectus for the sale of up to $7 million in comic stock. It's basically announcing a $7 million public offering. Bit of a drop here. Keep an eye on NXL if you're following that stock, guys.
Yeah, look, we've said this before. If you are trading a small cap name like this that does a run, an offering can happen. Oftentimes they do have to. If they've previously filed for it, then they can drop it at any time. Otherwise, it has to hold up for a while. The stock was 60 cents 2 weeks ago. So if it goes 4x and you don't like it, then this is what can happen. It's been up here before, and it turned at exactly the same price. $3 before, $3 again, and they dropped the offering. Smart by the company. That's what you got to do. So they take advantage of it here. Like I said, Mogul will open up literally at the end of the day. I'll have a quick look-see just to see what does happen with it. Whether or not it can continue for a couple of days, we'll find out. If you're wondering why, like earlier today, I kept saying $15, $15, $15. This is why I kept saying $15. It's got like $10 here, $15 there. There's really nothing else on this unless you're looking at like tight setups, like a tight consolidation 11 break, and then a similar thing happening at $13. So this should open at a monster level, I think, at 4 o'clock. And probably worth a look. There's not a heck of a lot in terms of earnings this week, but we do have a couple of decent ones later on in the week. But today it'll be relatively light. But lots of fantastic trades and stocks to go over, including sectors to go over as well. Because energy we barely even look at. I think that's worth it. Starting to show some strength. We were talking about XLE last week a couple of times, and once at least in the aftermarket show when I was on. So hopefully you guys get a look at some energy. I know Oxy had a good day, but maybe seeing how XLE did, whether it continued that break, would be interesting to see.
Yeah, XLE is a big holding of mine. One of the only oil names I have, to be honest with you. Okay, so we'll watch out for XLE. Trying to get back up. Yeah, $88 at the bottom there. All right, 358, ready to go. I will flip over there and go over to the other desk in a minute and get going on that. So Ford right here, better, Kenview. Yeah, nothing really happening there. Tesla's was a great trade today until it wasn't. Faded out there at the end of the day. We had that long. And again, it's like this is the life of scalping. You know, it's why I lose hair, gray hairs, have no idea where I am half the time. It's like this 183, like you take it up, it hits your levels, then you get out. Like if you're holding on to this, you're like, what have I done? And you're always second guessing. So I'm always trying to scalp some out. Tesla, again, a big, one of the positive names here. DNA, all right, just a small little 30-cent stock. Let's just check out NVIDIA. NVIDIA trying to hold, wow, look, lots of sellers everywhere here on this name with tons of volume. This has done 417 million shares, and look at the volume coming in at the end of the day on NVIDIA. Will close near its lows. So again, another sort of a disaster striking there for NVIDIA today here at the close into 118. There's your 117, and this is why I don't want to give my opinion. I mean, I already talked about this at 8:30 today that I was feeling bearish. I mean, why would I change my opinion 7 hours later? I mean, the market did exactly what I wrote down here today, and then we had it. Number one trade today, NVIDIA, but the other way to the long side. Let's see what happens, or to the short side. Let's see what happens now with only 20 seconds to go. Glad to be here for the next 3 days.
Yeah, that's not, someone said in the chat, that's not a halt. NVIDIA would have to move a lot faster to the downside for it to halt. The halt bands are not just a percentage on the day. It also has to do it in a specific time, usually about 5 minutes. But the bell is about to get rung by Adara in 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. And as I said, MLGO would open at 4 o'clock. It's open above the $15 level, so there is your 15. Congratulations, you got it. Who knows how long this thing is going to last above $15. There is nothing standing between it and moving dollars at a time. It just tagged 16 even, and then was right back at 15, and is right back up trying to test 16. And it's a stacked offer at the 16 level as well. So a big, big mover today with 127 in volume. I wouldn't touch it in the aftermarket unless you have a very specific plan. Maybe you're already in the long, good for you. But the market trending into the downside, down 1.1% on the NASDAQ. The ES only about 1/3%, but you saw where the damage was. A lot of the chip names looking weak at the end of that day there. And we're going to have some big levels tested. 150 tomorrow on ARM, 117 on NVIDIA, very likely coming to be tested tomorrow morning, which should be a lot of fun if you like trading. Sometimes you just got to be looking for the shorts. Big shout out to Fabian and Ramin on the 1s and 2s, is always making us look and sound good. And I want to give a personal thanks to Obi for stepping in when I've been unable to. He's going to do another one later in this week when I have my MRI, and he's been fantastic. You know, we don't deserve him. He steps right in there. Next man up, which we absolutely love. Shout out to also Adara and Sharif on the lesson of the day. Always doing a fantastic one. And learn to trade, knocking it out of the park. Want to thank Michael Noss for coming on, but you know what? Michael Noss is going to be back on the recap show to talk a little bit about crypto, because that did not have a good day whatsoever. Pretty much across the board getting the old smackdown, regardless of what you looked at. If it was in the crypto space, it was getting hurt. Let's get to the desk. We've got Sean, Adara, special guest Michael Noss for your market recap.
I guess Michael Noss coming through. Oh, man. Welcome to the market recap show. How you doing, Adara?
Good, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, lots pretty good. Got a little bit of a headache. I was wondering what was up with that.
Yeah.
The weather's really nice outside. I didn't get, we don't never use excuses of getting not enough sleep, but I feel like I didn't yesterday. I don't know why. NVIDIA down 7% today, not looking good. But you know what was up? We have really ignored this. MSOS, some of these cannabis names starting to go up to the upside there today as well. Up 5.71% for cannabis. So that's nice. We'll see what happens with that trade and take out $8. What else, man? Some of the metals upside right there. Oil and gas upside. This COPX, which is copper upside today. OIH. So we get a little bit. Neil sort of had teased some of the energy names today as well, heading back up to the upside. What a bad day it was for the SMH, of course, because of NVIDIA. And we talked about how the mighty might fall. And we knew that it would eventually happen for a name like NVIDIA. I don't know why people are surprised. I don't know if anyone's actually surprised.
Just the daily chart is like such a stark look, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know where we're back down to where we were 2 weeks ago. So let's wait to see if we do hold some of these levels. I think it will not. And I already said that we could probably come back into 100 at this level, which is where you're going to want to buy, in my opinion, some NVIDIA. But we could even get lower than that. And same thing for Apple. Was the trade of the week coming back into 202. If we get Apple back to 202, we'll be backing up the truck there as well. Apple, actually a positive name today. I want to thank everybody for coming through and joining us one more time here here today as I will load it all up and see how many people are here with us. We do have Michael Noss coming through. He talked about it earlier today that he wanted to look at NVIDIA as insider selling with the CFO and CEO, and that appears to have, I don't know if that's what's sparking this, but nice downside move there today. Really no individual news about NVIDIA, but if we do get a chance to go over the sticky note, I'll tell you, it was on there and it was a short and it was the #1 trade there for me today, NVIDIA to the downside. I mean, Berkshire today up a little bit. I mean, maybe did we get some bank strength today? Yeah, banks up 0.58%, so not all is the same. If you're gonna look at the triple Qs, right? The triple Qs down 1.3%. So if you look at what happened there after the open, let me go into a 3-minute chart just real quick to show you. You know, we were talking about this being a bearish day. We wrote that on the sticky note up here around 8:30, 479. It ends the day at the bottom. So that's never a good sign. Someone asked me in the chat, hey, Sean, what do you think about tomorrow for the NASDAQ? And I was like, got to see what tomorrow brings, right? Because this, like, if I made a call and say, oh, I think we're going to go upside. Well, in that last half hour, we really gave up everything. The market wasn't that bad, down about 0.7, 0.8%, and then really gave it up there into the close. There's the XLK, there's the SMH, and of course, we've already highlighted what was going on with NVIDIA, and I'll show you how I traded that today. And thank you so much to Brad Gober and everybody else that's in the chat today. Yeah, hey, what's up, my dog right here. He had good trades today, so good, Brad. Really happy with that. And I think that, like I was saying before, it was a tough day trading for many traders. But again, you had to have the bias early and then switch it up late, because if you got stuck long late, then you were in trouble. But there was some good long opportunities early as well. And I, quite frankly, this Palantir trade, I mean, we really like this one, man. We had this 24 break all the way up, but then it faded, see it, Fabian, right back into 23.75 before eventually catching a move up for Palantir. This name, I really like Palantir Adera, as you know. But one other name, I'm going to actually say something to Mr. Noss right now. I see that he's in the green room, looking as handsome as ever, this guy.
Yeah.
This guy's killing me, man. This beard game and everything. I mean,
that beard game is strong. Yeah.
You know, I think the guy as a kid, you think things would go downhill. This thing's going uphill. I mean, what's up with that? Only getting better for Michael Noss. So congratulations again to him. And he's already talked about studying over 150 charts. What about Snowflake is what I want to ask him. So when he comes on there, Snowflake right now, 52-week lows, going lower. Their quarter was bad, but was it this bad? Giving everything up. There's not many names that you're going to see all the way down there. And the reason why I want to ask him about it is because I had bought some at 150. I feel like I've bought some here recently in this area, which would be right where it is right now. I'm going to have to double check, but I like Snowflake for the long term. Again, data security, and the management and analyzing of big data. So it's one of the reasons why I like Palantir, but Snowflake, and especially if we're going to call up a weekly, I could drop an anchor if you guys want, but what I was going to do is look at a weekly chart for Snowflake, because again, this was one of those IPO darlings that really got going, IPOing around $200, all the way up over 400, completely came back to 400. And now actually that I zoom this out, if you get rid of my mug here, Ramin, quickly, you can see that there is some kind of support down here, but I'm going to ask Michael about this. What does Snowflake look like right now? Because it's just teetering on support. And if you like the story, I think you buy the name.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to dig a little deeper into Snowflake right now to see what's going on. All right, we can sort of maybe even pop this out. All right, wheat was red today. Oh, the TAN ETF on the weekly. This looks like it's getting hit downside as well as, I guess, a lot of consumers out there. Look, if the consumer is not very strong, then you're not going to get good retail pull. And you actually saw today, we can throw this back into here. I guess I have to put it back in. Amazon, again, good start to the day. Not a great finish. Amazon today, let me call this up to a 3-minute chart again. Finishing, I believe, at its lows, and yes, sir, right at its lows, Adera. You an Amazon shopper?
Not really. I dislike online shopping because I don't know. I guess I have technology issues, so I just would rather buy in person, but I've used it occasionally. What about you? I know you use Amazon, right?
I'd rather not talk about our Amazon bills.
Oh, apologies for this first time.
Actually, they don't get a bill. They just charge my credit card, and that's that. So, yeah, no, look, I love Amazon.
Yeah.
I probably bought something yesterday. Like, we get at least a package a day delivered.
I know you mentioned you
Honestly.
use it a lot.
Yeah, it's like whatever. I get like cashews delivered there once a month. I get like, we'll buy like some toiletries maybe. I don't know.
There's some stuff. There's good.
Replace those toothbrush heads.
Nice.
You know what? You have to replace those things like every 6 months.
I did not know that.
I know. 'Cause I went to the dentist and I was like, I switched over to the electronic, the Philips, the one that's at Costco, whatever one that's.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's intense or not, but yeah, pretty intense, I guess. And then they were like, oh yeah, that's good, because I used to just do the manual, and then we got it for our kids for like Christmas, and they loved it. Picked one up for my brother. They must have been on sale. Picked one up for everybody, and then the wife really liked it as well. There's some knockoff ones you could get on Amazon, but apparently you got to change those bristles every 6 months. Or else, I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? I thought that made sense.
It does.
You throw out your toothbrush, right? So
Yeah.
you got to throw.
Actually, that makes sense.
You got to throw some of that out. You can't be there forever. Okay, so that was a little talk there. I wish there was a stock we could look at. Procter and Gamble, maybe.
Yeah.
For that kind of stuff. The one thing another thing I want to look at was Caterpillar. Talk about XLI getting into some of the industrials. I really think Caterpillar could be at a spot here on the daily as well, coming into the 200 period down here at $300. I really like Caterpillar to come into play on that. First Solar is FSLR, but for solar, I like Enphase possibly coming in here to $100. Again, good earnings report, got it bumped up again, but then faded. What is the story with solar? Because it's been down for a little bit of time here over the last little while. So we'll find out more about that. FSLR, when the big guy moves, that's when there's generally even more of a problem. So First Solar was really holding up this whole sector, now coming back into 250. We'll check out that. Michael and I have gone back and forth, not about your URAZ, of course, but URA. Uranium, again, another one. If you like alternative energy, try to pick something up in uranium. Brendan asked me if I was going golfing today. No, I'm not. I'm getting in the spirit,
I thought you were going, because I said I like the golf outfit, yeah.
Thank you for that. I got on the Lululemon pants.
Oh, nice.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Is that not manly enough?
No, I was at, my friend works at Lululemon, and she and I were hanging out yesterday, and we went by a couple of the stores, and she was like, yeah, like there's, like the men's section, she's like, there's a lot of pants that people wear to work now. So yeah, shout out Lululemon. I was looking at some of those pants too, yeah.
Yeah, they've got some pants going on there for sure. I like Lululemon. Good name. But you know the chart of Lululemon? Man, oh man. I mean, this one is very depressed. You want to talk about a name? Like, I was just like sort of poking fun at some of the solar names there, but there is definitely something going on with Lululemon here, down into $300. Earnings faded right back down into that level. So we're definitely going to have to take a look on that. Let me just get rid of this negative screener here quickly. We'll just reload it in a second. KRE, the banks. Again, we've had Raider Trader, a couple different traders come on the show and talk about strength in possibly KRE as the regionals get sorted out, especially if real estate can start to figure itself out on the commercial side. I know there's a lot of regional banks that are into commercial real estate, especially in NYC, Boston proper, Philadelphia, some of the bigger metropolises there, Atlanta and whatnot. If we can get some of those buildings fill, KRE definitely helping out with some of those banks. And again, you're going to get First Republic that goes bye-bye, but some other one, NYCB Bank, New York Community Bank, some good opportunities going through there. Man, I'm lucky that I filled up at 155 over the weekend, because it looks like oil's trying to go back up. The oil services sector, OIH and XLE, both back up. But I didn't see USO on this list, so let me just check out what United States Oil is doing. Up to $80 goes USO. So, yeah, man, so good. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you for all the kind words as well. MLGO, do I think it will go down tomorrow? This is the 200 period? Okay, well, you're right at the 200 period on the chart, on the daily chart here. Come over here quickly, Ramin. I just want to show everybody this. Like, that's kind of strange. We've topped out on MLGO a couple times in and around this level. Does it have a chance to go? Yes. The float, though, the change since January, up 54%. We're looking at the short float, just 2%. I think that's probably wrong, probably higher than that. It's this number that's really rallying everything, 4.5 million share float. So we got to take that in consideration. MLGO, watch out for a share offering on this name as well, as there's only a few shares outstanding. So no doubt something that's on everybody's radar as we look for that. But all right, too much crime for commercial property, unfortunately. Yeah, you might be right about that. Simon Property, SPG. This was the only property that's up. I've sold, I'm out of this name. This was a name that I was in big during COVID, and I think Daryl in the chat knows about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was a huge dividend. I think they wound up cutting it. But again, look at the weekly chart here for Simon Property. Let me just scan this over again. If you're looking for, again, I always thought this was really high quality name. So look at this drop, Adara. And instead of like buying the tech, look, I was buying a lot of tech. Mug removed, if you can, Ramin, just real quick, just to show people this dropout right there. So we're buying this name at $50, $60, using these bottoms as the bottom. You could see this 60 really held, nice move back up for Simon Property, did fall back in, but came back to 150. So you ever, I asked you if you're holding stocks.
Yeah, I have. My financial advisor and I chatted actually a couple weeks ago, and so that was nice. It was, you know, I feel like I can definitely have those conversations better. So yeah, I have rotated a couple of things. Yeah, definitely looking at some energy names right now. So nice look. Hopefully we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
So my question to you is, do you think energy is a good long-term play?
Well, it's like shorter term. Like there's like basically a lot of it's through notes.
Yep,
So there's
okay.
like a certain, there's an automatic endpoint, and they were all names that, like, I made sure I looked at the charts myself. I wasn't gonna not look at the charts and let things happen, right? So yeah, bit of shorter term plays. Yeah.
I was gonna, so my advice on this, and this is not financial advice by any stretch of the imagination, because you're clearly seeking that, but don't look too much, like if you're gonna pay somebody to give you advice, then if you're gonna look at a chart, what's gonna wind up happening is you're gonna be like, I don't know. And then when it works, you're gonna be like, okay, well, like my chart reading was maybe off. And then when it doesn't work, then you're gonna blame the guy and you're gonna trust yourself anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, because they have like little packets with the fundamentals. So
Right.
the fundamentals.
I like the fundamental part of it. There's somebody that I know that can look at charts for days.
That is true.
And he's coming up right now. It's
Look at
Michael
that.
Noss. Let's go. What did she just show there? Nah, nothing. Okay, hey, Michael Noss, how are you?
Hey, I heard some talk of fundamentals before I got on here.
Boring.
Hope yeah, great.
forget about fundamentals. No, but I think that's true, and that's what I was trying to tell Adara is that you really got to try to figure out sort of what style of trading, of what trader you are, especially for what we're doing here, whether it's swing trading or day trading, or if you're just piling into a 401k or something like that, completely different strategies to go. And that's why, again, everyone can find you at Michael Noss over there on X. Google, search out Michael Noss to get some ideas, and you stream every weekend, right? Or you try to, and go over charts and what you're looking for weekly plays. Is that something that you still do Saturdays and Sundays?
Videos for now until the house calms down a little bit. But yeah, I do a nice write-up on Substack and just kinda give everyone my thoughts if you're interested.
Perfect. So go find out more about Michael Noss's Substack, of course. Great content as we go. Did you hear what I was talking about with Snowflake there a little bit? So I like the name because I'm thinking it's like relatively new technology. Frank Slootman was the head of that. He was part of ServiceNow, and he really got that name going. He's now out of there. So I feel like some of the problems here could be management related, but this name, we never like to catch falling knives or anything like that, but this is almost much more than a knife. I feel like this is a guillotine about to chop off anybody's head that's standing in and around this 124. Pardon me for the gruesome details here, but Snowflake can't be something that we can recommend at these levels, can we, Michael?
No, and actually, when you mentioned that, when I was in the green room, it reminded me of this study that I read. So I did a presentation recently at a Long Island Investment Club university thing. You can see up on my screen, and it was all about my concepts of relative strength and how investing in the strongest stuff, although it's generally painful to do, we always want to buy things at a bargain, end up working way better than investing in the weakest stuff. And just to explain this chart real quick, the top line is essentially what would happen if you invested in the strongest third names of the S&P 500 from 1980 until 2014. So a real long study. And then this line is if you invested in the bottom third names of the S&P 500, just to show that trends persist. And if you want to ride this kind of curve, then you're better off looking at stocks that are going up. And if you want to ride the lower part of the curve, then you're better off at stocks looking down. Now, that's for trend trading and trend investing. If you're someone who knows more about the fundamentals and the story and you want to take a shot on this because you believe it for the future, go right ahead. Again, in my perspective, the way I look at it, I want to be on that equity curve pointing up as opposed to the one pointing down. So that's why I'm always going to invest in stocks in uptrends and avoid stocks in downtrends.
Florida Panthers or Edmonton Oilers?
Exactly.
So which one would you choose, Florida or Edmonton for tonight's
Florida.
game?
But I know. You can come get me. I know I'm up here in Canada. It's almost like they should take my passport away. But there is what you think statistically is going to happen. But hey, sometimes you got to take the long shot.
Yeah, exactly.
And that might be a good example for snow. If you want to take the long shot, maybe this is the one for you.
Yeah, I was going to say Florida again was up 3-0, right? And so everything looked like it was all good to go, and then all of a sudden things change, and I think that's probably what's happened here with Snowflake as well. So okay, one thing that we have to talk about, because you sort of highlighted this when you were on the show earlier at 8:40 this morning, and that is, I mean, used to be a friend of mine, NVIDIA. I mean, we still really like this name, but Michael, congratulations. Let's go bang on that one. As you had brought to everyone's attention, let me go to a 5-minute chart. Insider selling again, potentially rotation out. NVIDIA was starting to sell off. We did have, I mean, this happens all the time. I feel like when you get to these highs, there is going to be a little bit of a pushback in. I don't think any of these moves are surprising you at all, because you had talked about this on the show for a minute. We've had Brian Shannon on and stuff like that to talk about relative strength and weakness. And I mean, this market was really lifted by very few names just recently in the NASDAQ. But now when we come back down, you can see what can happen. NASDAQ down there 1.3% today. Apple all the way up to 220. That's pulled back. Isn't it funny how we always talk about these names going upside, but if you told somebody that NVIDIA right now, as it prints 117, actually, is in like an 18% drawdown from its highs, and then Apple, very, very similar. Its high was 220, now printing 207s. Like that's, again, almost a 7-8% pushback. That's always really quiet when that happens, isn't it? But on the charts, they kind of look dramatic, and we tend to panic a bit. What do you think here about NVIDIA? I feel like breaking this gap off that reverse split, or not reverse split, off that split was 118. I'm a little nervous, Michael, and I'm actually thinking like 103, 104, 105 if this momentum continues southbound here.
Yeah, and the point that I had, and I think is holding true here, is that we are seeing rotation, which is fantastic. It's what we want to see. Ralph Alcampora, who created the CMT, talks about rotation being the lifeblood of the bull market, and it could be what we're seeing, and that's what I was talking about this morning. So yes, we will take a look at NVIDIA and kind of what we're seeing there, but what I want to show is the strength of the overall market. So I have the S&P 500 up here just with the SPY, and this is heavily weighted to NVIDIA. Had another down day. We're now down 3 days in a row, down 2%, not that big of a deal. But I wanted to show RSP, which is the equal weighted version of the S&P 500. So this is, you can look at this as everything else except NVIDIA and Microsoft and Apple and those big names. And we are up a few days in a row. And although we sold off like the rest of the market into the end of the day, actually was able to close positive. So yes, NVIDIA is selling off a little bit. A lot of these tech darlings are selling off a little bit. In the grand scheme of things, we're still up 2,700% here. So that's not that big of a deal. But we are seeing people that are taking profits in this name and they're applying it other places. And like I was talking about this morning, kind of bored with NVIDIA.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see other names potentially rebound and to have some trades there. So I think NVIDIA, it could get cut in half here and go to $50, and it's still going to be up multi-1,000% over the last 5 years. So this is going to flush people out.
Yep.
Luis Yamato, which is another titan of technical analysis, she always said, the faster the drop, the longer the need for repair. So I'm not in buy mode on this yet, but I don't think NVIDIA is going to zero or anything crazy like that.
No, could you imagine? Zero. All right. So not to beat another dead horse, I'm sure you're not tired of crypto because there's so many opportunities, so many different things happening in crypto. And today we had a great short near the end of the day on Coinbase as it really gave it up. It's broken below the 50-period moving average. Look, you and I have talked about this, and we've highlighted that the chart looked great, and then we bailed on it. Now we're starting to come back in. For me, I only think there's one ring to rule them all. And honestly, if we're going to trade crypto and we think there's going to find a bottom, I actually like Coinbase at some point here. Is that an idea that we need to wait for? Where are you on all of that? And have you heard of any studies or anything sort of correlating the movements with Bitcoin and Coinbase? Am I off by thinking that they move together? What are your thoughts about sort of maybe that relationship, if you've read anything, or even just Coinbase by itself?
Well, a buddy of mine who's, there's not enough data to do any, real scientific studies on these, but a buddy of mine that I was talking to, JC at All Star Charts, I think you've had him on once or twice, brought up a good point where he said there's stocks that the crypto miners and MicroStrategy, that they're Bitcoin plays, and they'll do well if Bitcoin does well or if Bitcoin does poorly. But Coinbase is kind of an everything crypto play. So let's say a Bitcoin 2.0 comes out and it's better than Bitcoin in some kind of way, and it picks up all this traction. Well, Coinbase is still there to win off that. Right. So one thing that's kind of interesting is, yes, we're having this dramatic sell-off in Bitcoin today. I just have the chart of MicroStrategy. It's breaking out of that little handle that we talked about last week. It can still reclaim this quickly, so I'm not completely abandoning it, but I'm not in anything right yet. But if we go to Ether, I'm just using ETHE as a proxy. This, ever since the sell-off in Bitcoin has started, Ethereum has had amazing relative strength. With Bitcoin down 7%, I'm looking down here now, and Ethereum only down 3%. Ethereum is usually something that moves more than Bitcoin, right? But it's holding up really well. So Coinbase could be a winner, again, if we get some sort of flip between Ethereum and Bitcoin being the ones in charge.
Hi, Michael. Thanks so much for being here. Hope you had a good weekend, a good week so far. I was wondering, last week you mentioned XRT, specifically in relation to what held up with all of the GME excitement and also with Best Buy being pretty strong on Monday. I was wondering if you have any more thoughts on that, if there's anything else you're looking at right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a sector to watch. I have the chart up here for XRT. It's continuing to hold strong. Again, we have the market selling, we have big tech selling, and then we have this name holding strong, which, again, as a relative strength trader, I love market sell-offs because all I have to do is look for stuff that's not selling. So XRT looks amazing. It's holding the $75 level very, very well. I like the look at that. Looking at some of the names under the hood, like BJ Wholesale Club, full disclosure, I own some of this from around 86. That actually held on pretty well today, was able to close positive. And JWN is actually something I was watching before the show, where that's holding on really, really well, has a 16% short float, which is 8 days to cover, and is sitting around this $22 area. So I'm watching these. So a lot of these names, again, even with tech selling off, look good. And, call me old fashioned, but I look at retail and I look at financials as an overall health of the economy. I don't think you can think the whole market is going to sell off dramatically if people are still spending money and retail still holding strong.
Yeah, I think, where are we going? To Dare or to myself? Where are we, Ramin? Where are we, Ramin? Oh, here we are. Hey, Michael. Yeah, good talk there. I know Carvana was another one of those names that was in XRT as well. So I know Adair and I had talked about that. Look, I just called up the chart of BTC, actually, and I actually just wanted to, this candle here, I didn't even realize, so you are actually getting into a decent amount of volume here as well on the daily. It looks like we'll have one of the largest volume candles. This is just a daily chart. I didn't even realize how dramatic of a move this was today from 64. Right now we're printing 59.2. We can't lose this 56, can we, Michael? Because I feel like the next move then is definitely a test back into 50 right now. And I don't mean to just keep on talking about crypto, but honestly, this chart breaking back in right now, I don't know, now that I was looking at Coinbase and looking at crypto, this might be early days of a move back in here into 50. Not necessarily your opinion on this, but that's with volume today. That's something that I feel like is a little bit of a warning signal, right? When stocks are floating around, and you talk about this all the time, look, the market's going up, but it's on light volume. So what does that mean, right? And I feel like this is going down, but on heavy volume, all of the big daily candles here, Michael, in crypto, all these big candles are the only green days in here are basically less than half, maybe 20, 30% of the volume. And again, this is on Binance, so it's Every exchange is going to be a little different. Binance a major one. Doesn't that concern us a lot that most of the big days here are coming on sell candles?
It does concern. Now, while you have that up, actually bring up the Ethereum chart, and it will demonstrate, I think, a little better what I was talking about. Where, again, as a relative strength trader, I take a look at the different types of market out there, and I look at Bitcoin as like it's the S&P 500.
Well, here's Ethereum,
and then I'm looking for things that are stronger and weaker. Yeah, I think this is a great look. If you look at that same moving average, I'm assuming that's like a 50-day or something like that you have up there. Yes, it's weak and it's not a great looking chart, but the strength is just dramatic considering Ethereum generally moves more than Bitcoin. Now, call this the ETF news or whatever it is, but it may be time, just like we talked about, where people are selling NVIDIA and they're buying Nordstrom's. Are people going to be selling Bitcoin and buying Ethereum? And generally, when Ethereum rallies, you have what the crypto nerds called altcoin season, where you have a lot of these smaller coins start to move. So is it time where some whales are going to sell some Ethereum or sell some Bitcoin and buy some Ethereum? I don't know, but that's where my eyes are looking at. I'm not really interested in buying Bitcoin right now, but that ETHE ETF, if it's going to move, I'm going to get involved there for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because here we are with ETHE, and one of our friends, a friend of yours as well, Brian Shannon, really nailed that one. We had him on the show down here, and he was talking about any kind of an approval, you'll get that sort of bump up here in ETHE, and that's exactly what it has. That there was a premium baked in to potentially it faltering, but that doesn't look like it. And yeah, you're 100% right, man. Just even here on the daily, well above still the 50 period on ETHE, and not even anywhere close to the 200 period. So, Mr. Michael Nosh, you got it again, man. That's another good one. Let's focus on Ethereum and not on Bitcoin for now. Well, the king will have its day at some point very, very soon. All right, Michael, look, it's 4:30. We don't want to keep you too long here. Was there any other, like one other name maybe that we can review with you maybe later on in the week or next time? You've been sort of giving us a couple names back and forth now. Anything that's interesting right now?
I'm going to go back with natural gas. So I have UNG up here. We talked about this guy all the way when it was bouncing off this $15 level. It did a great job of holding that. I got a great trade from 15 to 20. I'll take that all day long. We're noticing that XLE, if you look up in my top winners, you can see UNG's up there, OIH, all of these oil and gas names looking strong, and a really strong candle on UNG. So I'm going to watch natural gas tomorrow. If we break through 20, I'll probably get involved. Who knows? Maybe this thing's going to take a shot at 25. I know right where I'm wrong, and that's around $18 a share. Yeah,
I like that one. And that, a great point there again. Why not just trade the stuff that's strong, right? I mean, your board is lighting up. USO, XOP, the miners, everything, XLE, XBI, like everything's blowing up energy side right now. So again, a very, very good luck. Hey, Mr. Noss, thank you so much again for your time. That's twice today. Everyone loves you. They can go find you at Michael Noss CMT over there on X and find you all over the place. Get that Substack. Get subscribed today. Thank you, Michael, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you for having me.
Ciao. That's one of the best. That's Michael Noss.
Yeah. It was like so many great trade ideas written up. Accidental pun there. Shout out to Trade Ideas.
Oh yeah, shout out to Trade Ideas. Trader TV 20 on Trade Ideas will get you that 20% off.
Yeah, lots of ideas there for sure. Excited to check in next week and see how those are shaken.
And he's just a real one. Like he really does look at all those charts.
Oh, he loves the charts.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Again, thank you, Michael, and go make sure that you do check him out on his Substack and all over the place. Look, we can't do anything without a roll call. So before we do that, the biggest trade of the day for me was this NVIDIA. And look, we put it out. I'm not even logged into Twitter. You guys can go find the sticky note at TraderTV Sean if you want to. Here it is. Looks something like this. There it is. Almost exactly like that.
Yeah, there's like 4 of them.
There's like
that's
4
the whole
sticky notes
collection
right there.
of them.
Yeah. Okay. What do they say?
It's a shortened week worth of sticky notes.
We're having pork tenderloin for dinner, by the way.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, Marissa was like, hey, what do you guys want to have? I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's have some pork. I threw down some ribs yesterday, so it's back-to-back pork days, but the ribs were, oh my God, fall off the bone.
But they're prepared differently. So
oh my God, yeah. Tonight, yesterday was very windy, so unfortunately, I had the barbecue going, but it kept on going out. Because it's on my deck and it's not really surrounded. I got to sort of get like a little bit of a wind situation there.
A wind protector.
Yeah, it's like anyways, I had to do it in the oven, which the oven is still great, but it heats the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I know like when the kids are like, more ribs. I didn't have enough at the end of the day. What am I talking about? Oh yeah, Pork tenderloin? Where'd that come from? I don't know.
You were looking at the fake sticky notes on the screen. And
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, it reminded me of writing down like a shopping list. What the hell is going on?
But yeah, the awesome NVIDIA trade, which is on the sticky note, which they can find at Twitter, TraderTV Sean.
Oh, pork is on sale at Sobeys. Well, okay, maybe that's where she went. We don't have a Sobeys around. Maybe a Loblaws. Well, I know there's a lot of people.
We have Sobeys in Winnipeg. That's a Winnipeg thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Sobeys in Metro. We have Sobeys.
Oh
here.
yeah.
But they're just not as frequent.
Like
It's not kind of like your 7-Eleven in Winnipeg.
Yes, that's the Winnipeg reference. Yeah, they're everywhere in Winnipeg.
Although it's funny that there's a 7-Eleven right across the street.
There is, and I live near, I think, the only ones in Toronto. I live weirdly like around all of them.
You are just attracted to 7-Eleven.
Yeah, it's I feel very lucky.
Seems like, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Okay, so we wrote down today that we wanted to fade Pops and NVIDIA. We were lucky enough to get the high of the day, basically, right? This short right here is real. 124.30, shorted it again as it popped back up, and boom goes the dynamite all the way back in there. We reshorted again on VWAP. And then we look where we got out right there at the 50 period, finally breaking back up. And then we decided to go long, and that was fun until it wasn't. But we'll look where we got out, Adara. It broke some levels. We were able to get out of that, and we didn't have any short back in. But right now, at the end of the day here, it is 117.14.
Wow.
For NVIDIA and going lower. I said 14 there. Oh yeah, it is. 117.14 going lower and lower and lower. This is that buy zone that Neil had mentioned. We'll see if he is a buyer here. But look, it was already down 9%. Add 7 onto that right now. You're down 16%. It's a bear market at what percent?
The bear market at 20%?
Say it with more confidence.
It's a bear market at 20%. There we go.
Thank you, Ramin, for staying late for us. That's Trader TV Adara. I'm Trader TV Sean. My headaches kind of got away ever since, right here, we're feeling good. I took one from you. So I ran out of ibuprofen, but I had that around 1 o'clock-ish. When I came back, I was like, damn, I got a headache. Yeah. But then I took a acetaminophen, which is Tylenol.
Oh, so you switch it up, yeah.
I did, well, because I'm out of ibuprofen. And Ramin's like, you're not supposed to switch it up. I think
I had Advil, but you didn't hear me say you were over there, and I said, I have Advil. Next time,
that's okay.
I usually have Advil.
The switch up apparently seems to work. All right, it's 4:35. I got to go. So I'll see everybody tomorrow. That's Adara. I'm Sean. Have a great rest of your day. You'll see us both tomorrow at 8:30. Rise and shine with us and Trader TV Live. Ciao, everybody.
Have a great day, guys.